Good morning, everyone. It's Sal, Stratford Post. How you all doing? And welcome to the last 32 tie between Mexico and Ecuador, guys, in the World Cup. I hope you're doing good. I hope you're doing fine. Thank you so much for joining me on this very early morning YM, guys. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope everyone's doing good. Hope everyone's doing fine. Welcome to the stream, guys. Smash a like before I start. And also, don't forget to put your notifications on and subscribe to the channel if you're lurking in the background and all that jazz. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me on this very interesting game. Of course, I expect Mexico to go through today. However, Ecuador are there for a reason, and they will surely give a good account of themselves. Earlier this morning, in my time, France defeated Sweden expectedly by 3-0, an easy, comfortable win for France. No surprise there. Sweden shouldn't even be at the World Cup. Sorry, guys, but they shouldn't. They came bottom of their group, and they shouldn't be there, guys. The teams have been announced. Let me go through the teams for you guys real quickly. Let me just put this up on the screen. Welcome, everyone, to the channel. Hope everyone is doing good. This is the two teams. Anyway, for Mexico, we got Rango in goal, plays for Chivas in Mexico. They're playing like a 4-3-3 formation. We've got Sanchez. He plays in Greece for Poak. We've got Montez, the captain, who plays for Lokomotiv Moscow in Russia. We've got Vasquez, who plays for Genoa in Italy. We've got Gallardo, who plays for Toluca in Mexico. We've got the talented, very talented Gilberto Mora, 17-year-old, plays for Tijuana in Mexico, of course. We've got Lira, Eric Lira, who plays for Cruz Anzal. I believe that's in Colombia, if I'm not wrong. We've got Romo, who plays for Chivas in Mexico. We've got Alvarado, who plays for Chivas as well in Mexico. We've got Jimenez, who plays for Wolves, the striker, experienced striker. Quinones, one of the most impressive players, in my opinion, for Mexico this season has been Quinones. I think during this World Cup, he's done very well, in my opinion. He plays in Saudi Arabia. We got, in regards to Ecuador, we've got Galindez, who plays for Hurricane. We got Hincapié, plays for Leverkusen, guys. We got Pacho, who plays for PSG, a great defender, that one. Ordóñez, who plays for Club Brugge. We got Franco, who plays for Atletico Mineiro. We got Angulo, who plays for Sunderland, of course, in England. We got Veit, who plays for Pumas. Guys, Pumas, I mean, I remember Pumas. Is it Argentina? No, it's Mexico. It is Mexico. Pumas, the first player I've seen for Pumas today. There you go. He plays in Mexico. Calçado, obviously Chelsea. Yaboa, who plays for Venezia in Italy. We've got Valencia. Enna Venezia, who plays for Chuco in Mexico. And we've got Plata, who plays for Flamengo in Brazil. Guys, there you go. Just to look at the bench here, we got these are the players on the bench. We've got Asfede, Ochoa, Reyes. Ochoa is still playing, unbelievable. Chavez, Fidalgo, Gutierrez, Alvarez, Chavez, Vargas, Beneda, Vega, Gonzalez, Huerta, Martinez, and Jimenez. And then when you come to Ecuador, we got Vial, Ramirez, Torres, Porozo, Medina, Preciado, Valencia, Castillo, Alcala, Estupian, Minda, Arevalo, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, bear me, Casado, País, Rodriguez. Those are the two teams, guys, of course. Head to head, 4 wins for Ecuador's, 4 wins for Mexico, 3 wins for Ecuador. Whoever wins this game, guys, will be going on to play England, of course, which will be at the Azteca Stadium. Of course, England haven't played at the Azteca Stadium, as far as I'm aware, since 1986. It's been a while, guys. It has been a while since England have played at that stadium, of course, absolutely. When we look at Mexico, we look at their last results. They beat, obviously, Czech Republic 3-0, South Korea 1-0, South Africa 2-0, of course, and they're on 5-match winning run, 5 out of 5. So yeah, very, very impressive, guys, and not least, they're very, very impressive at the Azteca, and that's something that the whole World Cup has to realize. In regards to Ecuador, they did lose to Ivory Coast. Of course, Ivory Coast went out of the World Cup by 2-1 last night against Norway. Of course, it was a very, very tight game. So basically 1-3, lost 1, drawn 1 at the last 5. So yeah, and they did lose. They did beat Germany, though. They did beat Germany. of course. So they have had a couple of historical results in this competition so far, guys. Absolutely. So those are the lineups and those are the teams. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome everyone to the stream. I hope everyone is good. I hope everyone's having a good time and having a nice evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining me today, guys, for this watch along between Mexico and Ecuador, guys. Thank you everyone who's in the stream and welcome on this morning, of course, guys. Let me just say good morning to my legend, which is Marky Mark. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Good to see how you, my friend. I'm going from Mexico to go through 2-1. Still upset about United. I think generally I'm seeing rival fans revel in this and making, just celebrating it like it's a trophy. It's ridiculous. Man United are just, I can't defend them anymore. I can't defend them, Marky Mark. I can't go up to rivals and defend Manchester United. How can I do that? It just makes me look like an idiot. I'm not going to defend them. I can't defend Ineos and what they've done. I mean, they've missed out on another player. A choice, B choice, C choice. What choice do you want? We're going to end up with F choice. Do you know what I mean? And we're going to end up with no players. That's the one thing about it. We're going to end up with 0 players. And whatever. Cheers. Yeah, it's so irritating. It's so annoying. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. Big up Ephraim. How you doing, my friend? Big up Kenny. Glinios effect as we speak. Absolutely. Big up my friend Jack. What's going on, my friend? Hope we do some big some big knockout. I'm shocked up to get. Big up Jack. Good to see you, mate. Big up Tim. Tim, what's going on, my friend? Hope we're doing well. Okay, and life is being a little drained about Fernandes, but ultimately that salary just didn't make sense. It didn't. It is a lot of money, but I said it a week ago that Spurs have ruined the deal, right? Spurs came in with desperation, right? In regards to Mateus Fernandes has no ambition. It's as simple as that. Tottenham have ambition. They have shown ambition. Well done. But they've thrown money at the situation, right? They haven't attracted him with guile and history. They've thrown money at the situation. And Man United need to understand, though, we're not going to get anyone on a budget. Everyone's going to be paying that amount of money now. So when you think about Mateus Fernandes, Anderson, all the players that we're going to be after are going to be valued around the same amount of money, my friend. And this is the problem now. So you either sink or swim. You either go for it or you just stay mediocre. Let's not forget we are weaker than we were last season. Now, if they go out there and they sign a Chouamini and put the money towards that, okay, that's what I want to see. You know what I mean? But will they? And we have to ask. So there is Angelo Stiller, there's Alex Scott, of course, Lucien Agume, there's Lamine Camara, there's a Louis of Ivory Coast. There's a few midfielders out there that Man United could potentially sign. Look, Mateus Fernandes is not the be all and end all and the oracle of football of great players. Of course, he's not. But what he represents is basically an opportunity, and it is a player that has high potential. Do you know what I mean? However, that's just not how football works, is it? Man United have lost to Tottenham. We have to hold that. I don't want to make excuses for Ineos. They threw the money at it. We didn't. We offered 70. They nowhere near. We were not going to pay that money. But the problem is, who are we going to pay the money for? That's my biggest question, my friend. And this I don't really care about what Man United spend. I really don't. If we pay 10, 15 million more, so what? I'm not an accountant. All I care about is what happens to Manchester United on the pitch. I really don't care how much we pay on wages. I don't care. What I care about is Man United's ambition. And are Man United going to be? Look, it is not the end of the window. Of course it isn't. And I'm going to wait, of course, but they are under severe fraud watch. They had a 4 out of 10 window last summer. And we're gonna wait until we should not be waiting. We should not be believing in everything they do, and walking into hell blindfolded and not expecting not to get burned, because we will get burned, guys. Yeah, absolutely. What's going on with the game, guys? Let me have a look. Yeah, we have a weather delay, guys. Just to let you know, we have a weather delay in the stadium. I hope everyone's good. Welcome everyone to the stream. Really appreciate you. We're just waiting for the rain to clear up. You really think England are going to win tomorrow against how we played on Saturday? Yes, Jack, I do think they'll win on today. Today for me. yes, they will win against Congo. If they can't beat Congo, they shouldn't be at the tournament. It's simple as that. I done the watch-alongs for the African nations. Congo, an extremely physical defensive side who can defend very well. They proved it. However, they're not a team that's going to pose any threat. England have played Ghana. England have beaten Senegal in the World Cup last time. I can't see England losing to Congo, DR Congo. I can't see it. Football doesn't deal with absolutes. Let me just say this, Jack. Football doesn't work like that. I think England have a better chance of beating a better side than these teams. I think England struggle against the low block. And the reason they struggle against the low block is because they got a bunch of road runners in their squad. So basically, Marcus Rashford, Eze, Morgan Rogers, they haven't got anyone who's got that little bit of guile who can pass the eye of a needle. This is why they struggled against Ghana. And this is why they struggled against Panama, because they don't have that. However, I do think this team is more geared to playing an Argentina, a Spain, a France. I think this is what England are more geared to, because they're more of a counter-attacking team. You can't counter-attack against a low block, and that's what it is. England should, and every single day of the week, destroy DR Congo. And I'm not saying that out of disrespect, they should. And I'm a guy who's done the African nations watch-alongs and done that. The only teams I would fear in Africa are Senegal and Morocco at this moment in time. They're the only ones. Morocco, mainly. Ivory Coast were one of my dark horses, but they were unlucky last night. Lost, unfortunately, sadly. But it was a tough game for them, a tough draw. But I expect England to beat DR Congo. Not like 5-0, not 6-0. I'm talking about 1 or 2-0. Walaikum salam, Hassan. How you doing, my brother? I hope you're doing well. Congrats on not getting scanned by the Hammers. Now, please focus on Scott and Tchouaméni. You guys need a minimum of 2 midfielders to sit down their mind. I absolutely agree, Hassan. And thank you for being so diplomatic and not over a sensationalist and, trying to banter. Thank you so much, Hassan. I appreciate that. Look, time will tell. The one thing I will say in regards to Matheus Fernandes, right? He's ruined his career. That's what I'm going to say about that. Because he could have dug his heels in and he could have said, right, I don't want to go to Spurs. I want to go to United. And it would have put pressure on West Ham, for them to send him to Man United at a lower price. He's chosen Spurs. He's chosen the money. And that's fine. He hasn't rejected Man United because Man United didn't come in with the right offer. So you can't say that he's chosen Man United if we didn't accept a deal with West Ham. Choosing means you have to choose between the two, and the deal has already been agreed. He went to Spurs because he knew Man United weren't going to pay the money. It's as simple as that. And what all West Ham care about, West Ham just care about the money. What Matheus Fernandes has done is basically, chosen the losers over us. But fair play to Spurs, congratulations, and good. That I don't think he's going to thrive in that thing. But De Zerbi's a good manager. I would say, Hassan, to counter anything else, is that Man United and Ineos are on fraud watch, mate. And if we're not going to pay the money for Matheus Fernandes, I bet your bottom dollar, my friend, that Tchouaméni and Scott are going to be valued at around the same amount of money. In fact, why shouldn't Scott be valued at 85 million? Because Scott helped Bournemouth get to the Europa League. Matheus Fernandes has been relegated twice. So basically, Bournemouth can come and say, Scott's better because he got us to Europa League, and you should pay 85 million for him, and It could be that as well. We're in problem. We're in a problem. It's not about just not buying Matheus Fernandes. It's the fact that the message it sends out to everyone, and everyone's going to know that we are desperate as well, and that's a problem. And I'm concerned, Hassan. You have to be concerned because it's not about Man United paying money for Matheus Fernandes or not paying money for Matheus Fernandes. It's the message it sends out, to the rest. And everyone knows we wanted Matheus Fernandes. Just like in January, we were saying we're going to sign Anderson, right? And then when it comes to the summer, we let him go to Man City. And we didn't let him go to Man City only. We let Man City pay 116 million, which is only 15 million above his price tag. Which is, so at the end of the day, you have to pay for quality. I'm sorry, but you do. I don't care about money. Honestly, Hassan, my brother, I don't care about money, what Man United spend. I really don't care. Just make sure the football team is ready. And at this moment in time where we're standing, we need 6 or 7 players. We lost Casemiro, right? Is a big miss for Man United, right? Who are we going to get? Because you could say Scott, right? You could say Tchouaméni. But if we have wage caps and we don't want to pay over 80 million, how are we going to do this? Do you know what I mean? This is the thing. It's the message it sends out. And yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. And I think everyone should be concerned. If you're a Man United fan, you should be concerned. Absolutely. Marky Mark, yes, the way that Ineos earns any out of our trust back is putting the money where their mouth is. Absolutely. We better bring in someone class now. Absolutely, Marky Mark. Absolutely. And listen, I will up the ante. If they don't, I would put the pressure on the board. I will. I'm gonna start putting more pressure on the board, myself, and I'm gonna make sure I push it hard, because at the end of the day, I think about the fans around the world who spend their good earned money. They're fans. Look, guys, one thing I've learned about this World Cup is how life is for fans around the world. Now, ever since I moved to the UAE from London, I got to realize how difficult it is to follow your football club. It's hard, right? Because I'm 3 hours ahead of London. So when Man United kick off, it's midnight, and I wake up 5 in the morning. I do my 5K run, blah blah blah. So it is very, very difficult. And during this World Cup, it's sort of gone to another level. Basically, like you realize, wow, 5 in the morning kickoff. Oof, I have to wake up at 4 to get myself prepared, have a coffee, and blah blah blah. And one thing is, I believe that the Man United fan base deserve the best. They deserve the best because they love the football club, and I don't think that Ineos and the Glazers love the football club. I think they love their pockets. And that's the problem. Yeah, it's fantastic. All right, you save money, well done. But let's not kid ourselves here. We purchased Edison because he was cheap and easy, and nobody else wanted him. It's as simple as that. And I would say that we purchased him because it was cheap and easy. And yeah, we have to face the reality. We can't make excuses for them. Ineos and Glazers, the deaf leading the blind. No offense to either of those disabilities. Absolutely, Mark. I get you, man. As I said, it's like believing in Ineos and their project. It's a bit like walking through hell blindfolded and expect not to get burnt. And that's exactly what I said. He says fast, mate. Big up, Greg. How you doing, brother? I hope you're doing well. Big up, Jack. Hope you're well. Jack, you know what? One thing I don't want to come on this channel and be the bearer of negativity. I never wanted to be that, right? I'm one of those guys who's witnessed everything Man United's most successful years. I've been a Man United fan since the late 80s, right? I was a child. I had no grays on my hair. You know what I mean? And they've taken up a big part of my life, Man United, right? I've traveled thousands of miles watching this football club, from Honved, right, to Hungary, to Japan, to everywhere. You name it, I've been. Okay, so I've been everywhere watching this football club. And I've retired from doing that now because of since the Glazers. Obviously, I stopped going to Man United religiously back in like 2018 or something like that. I stopped going because I don't believe in the ambition. I live in UAE as well, so it's difficult, but I still would make it to games and stuff. So I just don't believe in them. I don't believe in the Glazers. I think the Glazers need to leave this football club. Otherwise, this football club is going to end up, absolutely. You want to play down low blocks, play in the 9, Kane in the 10. Kane can do it. He's got the experience. You want to break down the low blocks, Hassan, you have to squeeze the game. So basically, when you bring the game into the middle, you squeeze the game into the middle, and you have your overlapping fullbacks going on the other sides. That helps open the game. Because if you play through the middle, like what Man United used to do, because what Man United played against the low block every single week, and I got an expert on the low block. So Man United used to have Roy Keane and Paul Scholes, right? And they used to go through the middle, right? And they used to cause a lot of problems because they used to go on the overlapping runs and stuff like that, coming in from you know what I mean? And we would have Dennis Irwin or Gary Neville or Patrice Evra, running on that side, creating space. So the defenders would have to look left and right and think, oh, we got the wing backs going on these sides, but we've also got the middle going in, squeezing the game. So when you squeeze the game, defenders go like that, right? Space opens up on the wings, and then that obviously opens up the game. You need intricacy, but you also need simplicity. I think football's become overly complicated, overly tiki-taka nonsense and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, 1 hour delay, bloody hell, it's ridiculous. How many times? I mean, 70 makes sense, more sense than Fernandez, probably. But are we going to pay it, Hassan? This is the thing. Are we going to pay it? That's the key, isn't it? You know, we might look at Scott and think, nah, it's not worth it. And this is what we don't trust about the board, Hassan. You know, this is what we're talking about. You know, we can talk about, you know, we can sign that player, we can do that, we can do this, but are they? It's a big question. It's a $1 million question, isn't it? Are they going to do that? You know, it is rumors that Rashford is coming back to United. If Rashford comes back to United, we are doomed, guys. No offense to Rashford as a player, but he created toxicity. He flirted with Barcelona. Not only flirted, he basically sold his soul to Barcelona. He was awful. What he said if he was a magician, he would stay at Barcelona, things like that. Man United will make themselves look very, very weak if they get Marcus Rashford back. They will look absolutely incredibly weak. You know what I mean? And yeah. I guess it's because my former profession, banking and finance, and I look at things that way. But I agree, one needs to pay for quality. Yes, Hassan, listen, at the end of the day, when you think about, let me give you an example. Wayne Rooney, right? Wayne Rooney at that time was 40 million. At that time, given inflation, he's probably worth about 100 and 115 million now. That's how much we paid for Wayne Rooney then. But we got the deal done because he was quality, right? I know that Mateus Fernandes is quality. I'm not going to gaslight it because I've seen Roy Keane, I've seen, you know, Paul Scholes in the middle, and I know what he is capable of. I know the levels he can get to. He probably won't reach that now at Spurs, but I know the level we reach. We signed Rio Ferdinand for 30 million. You know, everyone was like, oh my goodness me, you're paying for a young defender, 30 million. Oh my God. He ended up being a legend. You know, the same with Rooney. You know, you have to pay for quality, my friend. Ever since the early 90s, when we signed Roy Keane from relegated Nottingham Forest, everyone was saying, why are we paying all that money for Roy Keane? You know, and there we are, you know, and we end up, what the rest is history, of course, you know, at the end of the day, you know. Exactly there, exactly. Huncho, my friend, please take a look at Arthur Atta. I think he can be a sub for Manu. Very good alternative matter. I'll take a look at him, definitely. For you, my good friend Huncho. Let me write his name down. I've heard of him, but, you know, I just want to write it down now. Write his name down. Yeah. Thank you, bro. I will have a look at him, Huncho, definitely, 100%. Thunderstorm, probably. They say that it rains a lot in England. I've never seen it rain so much in a tournament in my life. This is worse than Wimbledon. Apparently, it rains in England. I've never seen a game. No games were suspended at Euro 96 or Euro 2022. The problem is that we need wingers that can create. Our wingers don't create enough. Our wingers are more inclined, Hassan, to cut in and shoot. You can't have Tony and Kane if nobody's supplying for them. Tony scored 41 goals from in Saudi Arabia last season, right? And look at his goals. Look at his goals. Look at every single one of his goals. Majority of the goals are cutbacks and crosses. Man, England don't do that. You know, that's the problem. So you've got to create spaces. You've got to find alternatives. Kane always drops deep and obviously has to get involved in the play himself because we don't cross nowhere enough. We've got Saka cuts in and shoots. We got Rashford cuts in and shoots. Gordon cuts in and shoots. Nobody goes on the outside and crosses the ball. And that's the problem. That's why I worry about it. Our guys are not serious. I'm not going to come here and defend it. I'm not going to come here and defend Manchester United. No way. I'm not going to defend. Why should I defend Man United? Why should I offend this board? Yeah, it's been speaking about Nusa for a while, but at the moment, what Man United need midfielders, mate. You know, I rate Cunha very highly as well. Man United need midfielders, and Man United have got, at this moment where we speak, one midfielder available. Kobe Mainoo. Ugarte's out for the season. Ugarte's got an ACL. I know about the ACL. He's out for the season, and as we speak right now, we have one midfielder. One. You know, absolutely. Up Mexico. Big up, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Big up, Mexico. Best of luck to you, my friend. Good to see you, of course. Best of luck to all the Mexicans in the house, of course, guys. Absolutely. If Rashford cuts in, he drags at least two with him. It gives at least England players breathing room to pounce. It's too predictable, mate. Me as an ex-footballer, Hassan, it's too predictable. I loved it when players cut in and shot. I was a right back. I loved when players cut in and shoot. It's easy to do. When you go on the outside, it's harder. It's harder. England's problem with scoring is that up front they do too much of predictability. It's too predictable. Every defender, world class player knows if you're playing against a cut in and shoot, it's easy to defend against rather than coming on the outside. Man United, the great Man United, the great Arsenal, the great teams of the past were teams that went on the outside and got that ball in and overlapping runs and got that ball in. I know what I'm talking about, guys. Hassan, let me just tell you that right now. I worked in football. I'm a licensed coach, UEFA coach, right? I'm licensed. I know exactly what it is, and I know what footballers. I've had footballers on the channel. I know what they think, and I've had Liverpool. I've had more Liverpool players on this channel than Liverpool fan channels. And what I would say is this. For me, cutting and shooting, you can have one who can do it. You don't need two. You need at least one who can offer something different. And I think that's where Man United had their heyday with Beckham and Giggs. They both were different, but Giggs will always get that crossing. He'll always get that crossing. Unfortunately, England don't. And it's too predictable. It is. Because good teams will defend against it well. The one thing that's difficult to defend, crosses into the box. Trust me. Yeah. Bob, what's going on? I've seen this post saying CR7 is not even in the top 20 of all time. Who said that? There's stupidity and jealousy. That's all it is, Bob. Ronaldo is the greatest in my opinion, and I've seen a lot. I don't want anyone how can you trust an opinion that says something as audacious as that? Okay, all right, let's bring up the people they put ahead of him and let's look at their stats. Who's won the most Champions Leagues? How many goals did he score and stuff like that? At the end of the day, Yeah, I've done it at high level, Hassan. I've done it semi-pro. I've done it pro for Leyton Orient. I've worked in pro. I've worked for Tottenham. I've worked for other teams as well. So I've worked for a couple of teams in Europe as well. I've done work at FC Tokyo in Japan. I know what it is, but at the end of the day, England are very one-dimensional in the way they think. They won't say, bring on even Tony or Harry Kane. They won't do it, even though they should, whatever. Try something different. Why don't they? They won't do it. They won't do it. They'll play Harry Kane and Harry Kane only. That's it. I want even Tony at Man United. You know that. I want him at Man United. Gregory, stop copy and pasting quotes, please, mate. Honest to God, Greg. You and your Google quotes, for goodness sake. Makes no sense. That's one of the worst quotes I've ever seen. The thing about football, the important thing about football is that it's not just about football. What the hell is that kind of quote? He was obviously a poor footballer who wrote that. Hassan, agree. Yeah. Underrated, Hassan. Underrated. I've been watching the Saudi League, Hassan. I do watch alongs for the Saudi League as well. Hopefully you can join me for some of them next season. I think he's incredibly underrated. Incredibly underrated. Absolutely. Huncho, I love him. He's a great player. I knew it before this. I knew it before the tournament. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he's fantastic, but I think he's the future. And the great thing about Nucha, he can cross a ball. He can cross a ball. Bob, is the CR7 best ever player to come out the Premier League? Is the Premier League's best ever player? Yes, he is, Bob. And anyone who says he isn't is an idiot, basically. Not Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry's he did well in the Premier League, but he's definitely not Cristiano Ronaldo. Who is the who won the Ballon d'Or? It was Cristiano Ronaldo won a Ballon d'Or. He won the three-peat with England, with Man United. He won the Champions. He won the Champions League. He was the best, most talented player I've ever seen in my life. If he's the best player that I've seen as a Man United fan who dominated English football for 20 plus years, right? If he's not the best player I've ever seen, then you know who is? Because at the end of the day, I've seen the best. So if I'm putting him ahead of Cantona and all those players there, he's the best at the end of the day. There is this thing where people want to gaslight you and thinking Man United's success was because of Alex Ferguson got favoritism or it was a myth, and they want to throw it under the carpet because we actually dominated football for so long and we hurt a lot of people as well. There's a lot of crybabies out there. You can see it right now. People are actually celebrating. Teams have had mediocre seasons last season and finished below us, by the way, saying that we've been rejected by Fernandes when it's not true, but they would take every little piece of crumb on the floor like a pigeon and gulp it up like a full course meal. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And that's what it is. Some people see a piece of crumb on the floor as a full course meal. Cockroaches will see a crumb on the floor and it would look like a buffet. That's basically what it is, I would say. And that's what people are doing with this Fernandes thing. They're enjoying it. Fair play, and I would say that lots of people, in regards to Man United, have this hatred, about Man United, and they won't put him in their top of all time because they have this hatred and it's an agenda. Ronaldo destroyed the Premier League when he was there. Absolutely destroyed it. Henry, good player, not Cristiano Ronaldo. It was a different level, and he proved it. Henry went to Barcelona to win a title, to a Champions League, sitting on the bench. That's the difference. Ronaldo went to Real Madrid and absolutely became the best player in the world. He didn't have Iniesta. He didn't have Xavi. He didn't have Busquets behind him, by the way. That's it. Inshallah, big guy, son. Henry's got personal problems with Cristiano. Don't get me wrong. I love Henry, but he's unreliable when it comes to Cristiano Ronaldo. You know why it is, Hassan? During their time at Man United against Arsenal rivalry, they had a little fallout during that period. If you remember, they had a fallout in that period, and he hasn't forgiven him. He's obviously held a grudge. You know what I mean? Why do you think he struggles in that Portugal setup for the players? Because the same reason that Belgium struggled, Roberto Martinez. Look at the way Portugal play. Look at the way what they do. They hug onto the ball too long. They pass back. They do this tiki-taka sort of football rather than getting the ball into the box. My personal opinion is, and I'll be honest with you, as a guy who loves Cristiano Ronaldo, he needs to retire because he's 41 from international football, at least. I think he's 41. I think Messi will retire at 30, 40, 39, 40. So I think Ronaldo's 41. So I think he should retire. I think that this team don't know how to cross. This is why they drew against Congo and things like that. Do you know what I mean? They don't know how to be effective. And sometimes, the great football teams, they can play simple football. They can play simple football. And that's the great teams. You know what I mean? 1 second, guys. Yeah, guys, just to let you know, this game has been delayed by an hour. Can you believe it? Everyone talks about England when it rains, and England never have games being postponed or delayed. When we host tournaments, do you know what I mean? I remember I just expected Henry to move on. I mean, you achieved more than most. Exactly. It's petty, Hassan. You show respect to your fellow professional and someone who's been there and done it at the top, as they both have. So you show respect to each other. Ronaldo's always been respectful to Henry. And it just shows you in it the level of maturity. You get to know people's maturity. When you grow up. It's bitter, isn't it? It's bitter, isn't it? A great player's a bit. He's bitter about him, isn't it? Because of what he became. Ronaldo's run at Real Madrid's all-time goal scorer. So what does that tell you, Bob? What does that tell you? If he's Real Madrid's all-time top scorer, that means he's one of the best players of all time because Real Madrid are one of the best teams of all time, if not the best team of all time, right? Because Real Madrid have won how many Champions Leagues? 15, 14, 15. So yeah, if he's not in the top 20 and he's Real Madrid's all-time top scorer, how what is the essence of that contradiction? That's what I would say at the ballot. You know what I mean? It's just really, really stupid analysis, isn't it? From those so-called pundits. Some people, some pundits, let me tell you, they speak out of hate rather than logic. I could come on there and talk about every single player and give an honest opinion, you know, at the end of the day. You know, I could come in and give an honest opinion about every single player I've seen in my lifetime, and I wouldn't be biased. I wouldn't be, disrespectful. But a lot of them, a lot of these people are disrespectful. You know what I mean? To him. I mean, imagine playing at the top level at 41. He scored in the World Cup, guys. What do you really expect from Puerto He spends half the year playing in the desert. I mean, need I say more? Not really, Hassan, because I think it's a very underrated league, the Saudi Arabia League. I do watch-alongs for it. I think it's better than MLS, and he's scoring goals there. Even Tony's playing in the desert. You could say that, at the end of the day, he doesn't play in the desert. He plays in a very good league. It's a very good league, and I've seen it and I've watched it, and I've watched it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's harder to play in a desert in 41 degrees than it is to play in Miami where it rains half the bloody year. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day. So yeah, it's actually harder, at the end of the day, if this game goes to a penalty, it's going to end at 6 a.m. Like, that's crazy. Well, it's 5:30 where I am in the morning. So obviously I'm up anyway. So yeah, I'm up anyway. Let's wait and see. I tell you one thing about Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry would cry his eyes out if he played in Saudi Arabia because he wouldn't be able to handle it. That guy, he's a fraud. He slipped over. He cost Arsenal a Champions League. That guy. Don't forget, I ain't forgot 2006, 2 one-on-one chances that he bottled. Ronaldo would have buried those. Yeah. Yeah, guys, listen, this game has been delayed an hour. Obviously, we're going to give it some time and see how it goes, of course. Yeah, we're already half an hour in. Let's wait and see. They obviously aren't prepared for rain, I would say. It's crazy, really, how many games have been delayed because of rain. Yeah, I know, but I live there. You think that's easy, though? You think it's easy to play in I've jogged in 40 degrees, you know what I mean? Do you think it's easy? It's harder than what Messi does. It's one of the hardest things to do, and it builds character. If anything, it helps you, and in regards to playing in countries like America or Europe, it'd be easier because of the heat is not there. Why do you think boxers go to Los Angeles and places like that and deep heat training? Absolutely. I think Thierry is overrated because he played on a good version of Arsenal that actually competed every year in one consecutive championship, I believe. Look, I'm not going to come in and disrespect Thierry Henry. He was a fantastic player, no doubt. Won trophies for France. I'm not going to come and disrespect him. But what I want to say is this: people need to stop disrespecting Ronaldo, and stop trying to criticize him and put pressure, like, trying to downplay his achievements. Do you know what I mean? Just to fit a narrative, Bob, remember when the Sky Sports were trying to say Mo Salah was better than Henry and Jamie Carragher? No, he's not. He's not. He's a cutting merchant, mate. Good player, but not Ronaldo. Ronaldo had more strings to his bow. He won the Ballon d'Or, Ronaldo, and also Mohamed Salah's played in the era where the Premier League is weak. The Premier League was much stronger back then, and I'll say that, the titles that Liverpool won, they happened at a period or a COVID year, one of them, and yeah, it's not the same as it was back in the day. It's not easy. And it's not only that, Alex, the quality. There's quality in that league. You've got João Felix and people like that who are playing for Portugal right now. You've got players, Cancelo, you've got players everywhere, in that league. It's a tough league, man. Al Nasser, they won the league for the first time in a long time, and Ronaldo played a big part in that, and you got even Tony playing in that league. There's some good players in that league, and I think people are underrated because it's in the Middle East. People are underrated because it's in the Middle East, but it's 10 times better than Miami FC. Let me tell you. I mean, you can argue that Bergkamp, Vieira, Parla, and the likes of possible Henry to reach his potential. Every single team, right? Listen, look, I would never come on here, Hassan, and destroy and rip apart a player that played in those days, because those days football was proper football, right? I would never come in and downplay an Arsenal player, because Arsenal and Man United elevated each other. When we were competing for titles, we elevated each other. We helped each other. I would thank Arsenal for helping us win the treble, because they kept us at a level, because you were so good, right? Vieira, Parla, Overmars, Bergkamp. I know all about it. That the best team was 98 team. Sorry, it was the 98 team. It was better than the Invincibles, in my opinion. Quality was just a little bit higher. And I would look at that and I would say, no, I would never disrespect any of those players who played. But if anyone wants to go out there and try and destroy Ronaldo, and because it makes their love child Messi, who's getting obviously getting rigged, the World Cup's getting rigged just for him, I'm not going to accept it. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. And also, as a person, Ronaldo's better. CR7 is probably the most famous person in the world. Forget sports star. That's why the hate. Yeah, it's jealousy, mate. It's just jealousy. Di Stefano is still a fourth highest scorer ever, Real Madrid. Yeah, but that was a time when they used to smoke cigars before a game, mate. At the end of the day, you know what I mean? That time cannot be with no disrespect to Di Stefano and people like that. You know what I mean? No disrespect to Di Stefano and stuff, but that was a different era completely. Do you know what I mean? No disrespect. Hassan, you know the mark of a human being and the mark of a journalist, right? Who is one who speaks of emotion, right? And a lot of them speak of emotion and hatred for Manchester United. Some do with Man United as well, but some do with Arsenal as well. Don't get me wrong. That there was a distinct hatred for Man United because a lot of these journalists were raised. Let me give you an example. Craig Burley, who's on ESPN FC, right? Man United defeated Chelsea 4-0 in the FA Cup final of 1994. That was Craig Burley's biggest game, right? In his biggest game, we embarrassed Chelsea. He remembers that. He thinks about that. He probably thinks about it every single day, right? We got in the way of his dream, we got in the way of his dream. And these players who we took trophies from are still bitter about it, and they will forever be bitter about it. So I'm not surprised that they're using their platforms to try and downplay Man United's achievements, Um, and they put so much on the Cracker Jack Trophy that they wouldn't saying that it is the best thing any team can win, but they are the bigger trophies than the small invincible trophy that they claim. Yeah, look. At the end of the day, I remember football fondly from back in those days. I remember it. I remember it fondly, and I will always respect it and appreciate that I witnessed it, because I can come on here and not be a chuff monster and say that football started in 2010 for some people. I've been on some channels, they don't want to talk about anything before 2010. They just want to talk about the last 5 years, the last 10 years. That's what they want to talk about. They don't want to talk about that because they know that the Man United team, the Arsenal teams, the Man United team in particular, 2008 was the greatest Premier League team of all time, along with 1999. It was because they had the biggest competition. Every single team back then had great players. Every one of those. Yeah. He hates Man United though. He read it in his book. It's the best thing to happen since sliced bread, guys. And if it's all, yeah, well, yeah. I mean, They drew 16 games, I think. CR7, he netted 451, 438 competitive appearances. Real Madrid averaging over a game. That numbers is insane. Exactly. Now I can come on there and talk about Andy Cole. And I could talk about Andy Cole is still in the top 5 top scorers in Premier League history. Andy Cole didn't take a penalty. You know, you see, I can stake a claim for Andy Cole. I could say, wow, well, Andy Cole didn't take penalties. Paul Scholes didn't take penalties and free kicks. You know, so statistically, Paul Scholes is better than Lampard and Gerrard and all these players. You know what I mean? What about people like Piers Morgan and Ornstein, who are outspoken Arsenal fans? Couldn't care less about them, to be honest, mate. Couldn't care less. Couldn't care less about Piers Morgan or any of those guys there. You know what I mean? And, Morgan is everything that is wrong with the Arsenal fan base. He's a representation of it. You know, he's a representation of the Arsenal fan base and a bad representation. There are some good ones. I came a good in 1998. Only came afterwards. As far as I'm concerned, more red than he did. Legend or no legend. The 1998 Arsenal team, right, was the best Arsenal team in history, mate. And when I think about that Arsenal, without Henry, by the way, when I think about let's go from top to bottom: David Seaman, Nigel Winterburn, Lee Dixon, right? Martin Keown, Tony Adams, Patrick Vieira, Manuel Petit, Mark Overmars, Ray Parler, Bergkamp, and Nanelka. That for me was the best Arsenal team that I've seen in my lifetime. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day. You know what? It must be exhausting for people like Ronaldo to be, continue listening to this. He must be saucy, but he don't care. The only thing is, you think Ronaldo lions don't care about the opinion of sheep. That's it, and the stats speak for themselves. And in 10, 20 years' time, people will look at him and say, oh, you know what a great player he was. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. Piers Morgan appeared on television as a full kit wanker. Yeah, Greg, he did. He's an idiot, mate. He's a shit. He's the sheep we're talking about. Would you have took Palmer, Foden, and Trent? Yes, Bob. I'm not saying that you have to play them, but he gives you something different, Bob. He gives you something different. I would have certainly took one of those instead of Henderson. I don't think Jed Spence has had a good season. I don't know why he's in the squad. Tottenham almost got relegated. If people want to label that on Palmer, they want to say Palmer's had a poor season. What about Jed Spence, who almost got relegated with Tottenham? At least Cole Palmer has scored in a European final for England. Yeah. And let's be honest, England ain't got an array of goal scorers in finals since 1966. Since 1966, it's only been Luke Shaw and Cole Palmer in the final of a major competition. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, look, you need players like that to unlock the door. You do. And England have gone road runner. They've gone counter-attack side. That's what they've gone. They've gone into that. But what they haven't thought about is play teams. And they're going to find out tonight where what they haven't thought about is teams that sit back, and you need the Cole Palmers, you need the Phil Fodens, and you need those type of players. You know what I mean? A CR7 getting hate because America is pro Messi. Yeah, well, it's just politically, Bob. Just look at who he supports politically, and that's all you need to know. Saka too ain't had a good season, isn't it? Yeah, he's not, mate. Statistically, he's not. No. But my biggest concern is not for Saka and things like that, because I don't mind like bringing in, because it's all about this as well, mentality, right? He's won a league, so he's got that little bit of feeling of winning. You know what I mean? And when you got that feeling of winning, it helps you. You know what I mean? But I'm talking about Henderson, Jed Spence, Dan Burn. These kind of players. Like, I'm like, why the hell are they in the squad? What are they doing in the squad? What the hell are you doing? Like, Kwanzaa, Kwanzaa instead of Trent. Guys, let's be real here. Come on. One's playing for Real Madrid. One can assist. One can overlap. One could be versatile. One could play left, right, back, everywhere. And then you bring Kwanzaa. What kind of nonsense is that? It just doesn't make sense. And, at the end of the tournament, Tuchel's going to be two things. Tuchel's going to be sacked or he's going to be a genius. That's it. He's left himself in a position. If he loses any games in this tournament and gets knocked out by Congo, for example, he's going to be sacked 100%. I honestly feel that Ronaldo's thought process, if the world, I'm going to do my final hurrah and move on. And honestly, I think that's fine. He's achieved something. And so he's achieved something that no other person would achieve. And you know what? He's achieved something that Messi would never achieved. You know what that is? Being a great human being. And that's what I would say, and we all know what we mean, why he's a better human being than Messi. He doesn't put his head against a certain wall, if you know what I mean. Alex, like all of these good European players, I feel are coming because of people like Beckham to the MLS, and that's a good thing. Yeah, but the difference between USA and Saudi Arabia is that USA bring players in their late 30s. Saudi Arabia bringing players at their prime. That's the difference. Jar Felix, Cancelo, even Mane when he went there, they were not old. In the USA, they go there when they're old. That's the difference, apart from obviously Ronaldo. Reece James injured is too. It's not a joke. Madueke too. He's average. Wharton. Where's Wharton? Where's Morgan Gibbs? Why? Cole Palmer. Phil Foden. Aiden Heaven should have been in the squad. He's better than Dan Burn. Aiden Heaven's been a fantastic defender for Man United this season. He would have been better than Dan Burn. He would have been better than Konza. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. Big up. Right backs instead of calling up Chalobah, Carl Walker, Tyra Mitchell, Rico Lewis, Trent Walker. He didn't call up Rico Lewis, did he? That's true. Tyra Mitchell as well of Crystal Palace. Yeah. For me, he's left himself in a position here. He's left himself in a bit of a pickle. He now has to achieve something major because people are looking at that squad, right, and thinking, you took a big risk there. You really took a big risk there. You better win England something. I'm telling you, Bob, too many players got left for me. Why he hates Trent, I don't know. Again, this is what I'm saying. Personal feelings get in the way of logic. If you got a personal feeling of football, you're going to lose. Manchester United back in our heyday in the 90s, many of the players didn't like each other. Andy Cole hated Teddy Sheringham, but they didn't get in the way of their football. And if Andy Cole saw Sheringham free in the box and vice versa, they would pass the ball to him. Personal feelings didn't mean anything. The thing with Tuchel has a problem with Man United players, quite obviously, right? He has an issue there. I don't know what it is. Kobe Mainu, right? And people may say whatever they think about Kobe Mainu. Kobe Mainu is the only player in that midfield who can keep the ball and pass eye of the needle passes and intricate little passes and stuff like that. If you play Anderson and Rice, they're too similar, right? Kobe Mainu is the most technically gifted player in that midfield. Technically gifted, and yes, Rice is good. He's a good tackler. He's a good retriever, and so is Anderson. But Kobe Mainu is different. He offers something different, and I would say England's biggest problem, and it has been for 30 years. They pick players based on emotion, based on hatred. They don't pick players based on what's good for this football team. Hassan, Mane and Kante still good years in them. Isn't Kante still in the French squad, mate? There you go. Still there. Yeah, still there. I will always defend Middle East. I will always defend, people in this, in this region. I would always do that, because I know what a great place it is. I know what great people there is. I know what they are mentally. And the problem with like for example, Man United's ownership. The difference between a Western ownership and a Middle Eastern ownership is that a Western ownership would say, how much money can we make for this? A Middle Eastern ownership would say, how can we make this the best, this team, the best? Whereas Jim Ratcliffe would say, how much money can we make for Man United? That's the difference between the two, you know, and it's evident when you're here. I could walk it like, you know, people don't understand it. They want to talk about human rights. Should we talk about human rights? I worked in the NHS in London for 5 years. You have to wait 3 months to get an appointment. In the Middle East, you walk in, you get seen the same day. You know, look, I'm not even mentioning Maguire in that, but Maguire is better than Konza and Dan Burn. You know, Kwanzaa, you know, come on, guys. You know, let's be real here. Let's talk about the birds and the bees, man. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. In all honesty, I would have taken Trent as a winger instead of fullback because I imagine I would have taken him because he's versatile. Exactly, Hassan. He could play anywhere. You know, that's the thing. And isn't it more to your beneficiary to bring someone like Trent Alexander-Arnold in who can play midfield, central, right midfield, left midfield, right back, anywhere. He can play anywhere. And you can put him anywhere, right? And he can do a job. And he plays for Real Madrid. And he's done well for Real Madrid. So why would you pick Kwanzaa? I don't understand that logic, guys. I really don't. I don't understand logic. The teams are out, guys. We're ready for the national anthems and all that. This game has been delayed an hour, of course. Hope everyone is good. It's been delayed an hour. So we're not even kicked off yet. Look at the defense. I'm like, what the hell is this doing? He's played players out of position. Trent plays in a... He's sort of like, you know, when you have a puzzle, right? And you take one piece out of the puzzle. What he's done, he's basically taken the piece out of the puzzle, put it somewhere, and he's forgotten where he's put it. So he's putting every single piece, trying to find it that's not fitting. And it's sort of, the whole puzzle's getting messed up. This is what's happening with Tuchel right now. He's messing it all up. He's like, he's losing it. You know, and don't be a smart ass. You can make a strange decision, but in football, don't try and be a smart ass. Right? Don't try and be clever. Trent Alexander-Arnold has been treated badly, right? And I would say that. And also, so has the other team. So has Foden. So has Palmer been treated badly. Madueke, come on, guys. Real, you know, he's a road runner. That guy can't do a step over, mate. That guy's, you know what I mean? What are we doing here? So you're basically your whole philosophy and your whole tactics is basically kick and run. That's it. Nothing tactical about that. So basically what he's doing, I can see it from a mile away. Counter-attack football. That's how he's going to try and win the World Cup. What happens when someone decides to sit back? You know? It's why I think they will struggle against Congo today. They will struggle against Congo. But the problem is, right, is when you play France, when you play Spain, when you play Argentina, when you play these teams, right, if they go 1-0 up, what are you going to do if you're playing a low block? Where's the creativity coming from? You're going to go 1-0 down sooner or later. Where's the creativity coming from? Where's the substitutes off the bench to make a difference? I'm just trying to work it out. Do you know what I mean? Where do we go with this? Do you know what I mean? Me too, Tyrone. Tyrone, I'm depressed about Man United, and I apologize to all the Man United fans out there who have to feel like me, you know, as well. You know, and that's what I would say. I love this football club, and we are run by absolute leeches, greedy, incompetent, clueless clowns. And anyone who wants to gaslight anyone into believing that they are a good ownership, don't support this football club. It's as simple as that, right? They don't. They support their ego. They support Ineos FC. They don't support anyone else. Now, we now have to rely on Alex Scott, who's going to be 80 million as well, by the way. Tchouameni, who's going to be 80 plus million, by the way, 90, 100. Are they actually going to do those deals? You know, I don't know. He's not even gone pragmatic. He's gone erratic, not pragmatic. You know, Madueke over Palmer is crazy. How did he even go? I mean, form is temporary, class is permanent. Players have bad times. It's important to look at the context in why Palmer had a bad season. Enzo Fernandez had a bad season. Caicedo had a bad season. Cucurella had a bad season. Why did they have a bad season? Because of Chelsea, not because of them. I said it many times. You are a victim of your environment. That's exactly what, and people are like, it's them. They're going to miss out, Trent would have unlocked the door. Yeah. I think Tuchel was thinking, I can get Ben White, who can play fullback, centre DM, I'm good. White got injured bad. At that point, he should have been pivoted to Maguire and Trent. Because burned it out. Well, Maguire, I wouldn't mind. Obviously, Maguire's a centre back, not a right back. England are missing fullbacks, right backs in particular. Bringing Reece James was criminal. Every single one of us knew that Reece James would get injured. Reece James is like glass. He will get injured straight away. Saka is a risk. He can play, but he shouldn't start because he's injury. He's had a bad season with injuries, right? That's a risk as well. Livramento, right? Injury prone. Everyone knows he's injury prone. Why are you bringing him? What is wrong with you? And then on top of that, you bring a cheerleader in Henderson in the midfield. So you've got Saka, Livramento, Reece James, all those players there. Suddenly you've got less players in your squad. Dan Burn, where did that come from, I mean, I understand Konza to an extent had a good season with Aston Villa, but Dan Burn, come on, man. It's disrespectful. Who would you look at? Alex Scott? Yeah, Bob. Alex Scott. Yeah. There's a few that I like. Owen Bawardi, Angelo Stiller, a couple of players in the World Cup that I've seen, I've been impressed with. But yeah, I would look at him. Yeah, I would look at Alex Scott. Unless Man United do some amazing deal for, one of the Spanish lads, Barrios, or, a player like that. The choices are running thin. And the problem is that Alex Scott's not going to go for 50 million, is he? He's just got Bournemouth into the Europa League. He's going to go for 70, 82 as well. Now, there was talk about Man United going for Alex Scott. Talk about him going for 60 million. That's what Man United are offering. But it's a joke, man. It really is. It really is a joke. The way this football club is, it's just, honest to God. They don't think, they don't think. And one thing I would say is that I really hope at the beginning of the season, we are okay. I hope so, because it's going to be a hell of a very, very judgeful time for Ineos. Definitely, 100%. Yeah, we're almost ready for kickoff, guys. In this game, almost. Don't count your chickens, but it has been raining. Can you believe it? Yeah, it's been raining. Big up everyone who stayed with me. Really appreciate everyone, guys. Appreciate everyone in the stream. Big up the legends. Tonali, Matheus Fernandes signing for Spurs has really pissed me off. Not even excited about next season. They've sucked the life out of the season, Tyrone, haven't they, already before the season even started? Now what Man United need to do to reignite that spark, they have to go out there and sign the big players, a couple of big players, and show us. We didn't get Matheus Fernandes, and we didn't get Anderson or Tonali because we've got this player. They need to do something amazing. I don't think they are, though. I don't. I wouldn't be surprised if we start with Ederson. Right now, as we speak, we have only Ederson and Mainu. Ederson hasn't come in yet. Let's be honest. He hasn't signed yet. We've only got Mainu as we speak right now. Gordon is mayor when Rashford comes in and does more than in space of minutes. Yeah. But none of them can cross. That's the thing. How can you have Harry Kane in the box if you're not crossing to him? Flash Gordon, all the money went into his head. He hasn't improved, yeah. Now that he's gone to Barcelona, he's going to think that he's going to believe his own hype, isn't it? No, Bournemouth wanted 80 million for Alex Scott. 80 million, exactly. Are we going to pay that? So we're not paying for Matheus Fernandes what we'll pay for Alex Scott. We're not going to do it, guys. You know what I mean? Exactly that. United, Alex Scott steps into United's women's captain. Scott only has 2 years left. Next year, only one. They're still putting an 80 million price tag on him. There you go. Dan Burn just makes no sense to me. No disrespect, he's not a bum, but he's not someone who I'd pick. He's a Scotland defender, Hassan. Let's be real. He's a defender that Scotland would pick in their squad, not England. You know, England come from John Terry, Rio Ferdinand, Sol Campbell. You know, they come from that sort of quality. Dan Burn is Scotland quality. When you look at England's defenders, you think about even Keown and Adams and Bold are better than Dan Burn. You know, like how much has they regressed? It's unbelievable. Guys, finally the teams are out. The teams are out. Finally, we had rain delay in the game, guys. We are kicking off at 6 now, of course. Big Hassan. We're ready to go finally in this game. Here we go. The game is underway. Last 32, Mexico, Ecuador. Guys, we're underway in the Azteca Stadium. Guys, big up everyone who's joined me today. Big up everyone stayed with me. Obviously, I've done I could have had an extra hour's sleep, these jokers. Yeah. Happy Wednesday to everyone. Wednesday's always a special day. It's the day Man United won the treble. It was a Wednesday. 26th of May, 1999. Wednesday, the 26th of May, 1999. Won a treble. There you go, guys. Just to fit that one in. But Mexico are here playing in the Azteca on a high altitude. Let's not forget that England may play this game in the last 16. Whoever wins this will play England or Congo in the next round. I'm not saying England are going to beat Congo. Like if England don't beat Congo, then England don't deserve to go to the next round. Absolutely not. In my opinion. Yeah. If you have aspirations of winning the World Cup, yeah, you know, or getting far in the World Cup, you have to beat them. It's going to be a free kick to Ecuador. Plato on the floor. Javier Aguirre. Javier Aguirre he looks like a lawyer or something, doesn't he? He looks like a villain. You know, like what was it? Cartel sort of villain. You got Ephraim. It will be an interesting game. Finally, we're underway, of course. An hour late. Better late than never, isn't it? It's better late than never, of course. Big up everyone, guys. Big up everyone in the stream. Hope everyone is doing well, of course. I do expect Mexico to win it. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, I do expect Mexico to win this game. I watched Ecuador the other day. Yeah, they're good. They've got a couple of good players. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, Casado plays for them and stuff, but it's not a team that I would fear. You know, no. They are a last 16 sort of team, like a last 32 team. That's what they are, and obviously, this is a tough game in the environment that they're playing in, but you know, you're gonna have to play in these environments to win. Here come Mexico. Here comes Mexico. Chance shot, well blocked. Good start for Mexico here. Mora there, really good play. Obviously, I want people to look at Gilberto Mora, very good player for Mexico. Only 17 years old, playing for Tijuana. I'm saying about 2-1. I'm going for Mexico today. Bob, if you could have one back in the prime for England, who would it be? Out of Rooney, Beckham, Gerrard, Lampard, Gascoigne, and why? I would have out of all those players. I mean, I would love Beckham back. He can play. He can take a free kick and he cross the bloody ball in the box. But if I was going to think, I would like Gaza. Only because I think Gaza was the best player in the world, but didn't reach his potential because of his environment. If Gaza went to Man United, Gascoigne would have been the best player in the world for a long time, would have won him Ballon d'Ors. He went to Spurs, and as we know, and that's what's going to happen with Mateus Fernandes, just like it's happened with Bergvall and Basong and all those players. You get ruined your career by going to Spurs because there's no discipline. And when Gaza went to Spurs instead of Man United, he would have been managed under Alex Ferguson. He ended up being managed by Ozzy Ardiles, or was it Ozzy Ardiles or Glenn Hoddle, whatever it was, or Terry Venables, and ruined his career. So I think the most talented English player I've seen in the last 30 years, apart from Paul Scholes, is Paul Gascoigne. And I think that Gaza was an unbelievable player. And I thought England not picking him for the '98 World Cup was criminal, to be honest with you, after what he did. I hope it'll be a draw. I hope it will be a draw. Extra time, then penalties, create an upset. 10. I don't, because this game is an hour late already. Bob, have you seen Mexico's home record there? There are only 2 games. Yeah, Bob, but look who they play, mate. Look at the context here. I always look at things with context. Who do they play? Who do they play? Here come Mexico. Shot. Oh, they already started very fast, Mexico, though. They've already started very, very fast. They're up for this game. Big crowd, of course, in the Azteca. Big crowd. It was a poor shot, to be fair. He should have done better there. It was a poor shot, if I'm being honest with you. If it manages to get to if it manages to be a draw and it goes to extra time, I think Ecuador would have done well. That's what I would say. If it is a draw, if it's extra time, Ecuador would have done well. My dad says George Best is your dad would be right, mate. Your dad would be right. Let's not forget that George Best's career wasn't filmed. We only see what we see on television. If he was around now, people would be like, that was a big miss for Mexico. How did he miss that? It was a free header for Mexico. Was it Jimenez? Oh, that's a free header. He's got to do better there. He's got to hit the target there. My goodness me. What a chance for Mexico. Mexico should be 1-0 up already, to be honest with you. That was a big chance. You've got to get that on target. What a miss. Especially a striker who thrives off opportunities like that. You've got to put that in the net, or at least get it on target. You've got to. I mean, they should be 1-0 up already. This is not a good sign for Ecuador, is it? Hassan, this will probably be Raul Jimenez's last World Cup. I honestly hope he gets a few goals. Yeah, it'll be Raul Jimenez's last World Cup, 100%. Yeah, he's not that type of player to stay on. I've always felt he'll be a good signing for Man United as a backup striker. You know that. I don't know why we've never looked at him. I don't understand it. If you need a backup striker, Alex Ferguson used to do it. He used to bring up remember Louis Saha and stuff like that from Fulham. He used to bring in these kind of players. I don't know why we don't. I mean, experienced, good striker. And I don't know why we never did it. I'm sure he would have went to United. Absolutely. Guys, welcome aboard the stream. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, guys. Don't forget to smash a like on the video. Yeah, underrated, Hassan. Yeah, entire career. Some players never get to that level, Like, I'll give you an example. The Cape Verde goalkeeper, for example, no one knew who the Cape Verde goalkeeper is before this World Cup, isn't it? Here come Mexico again. This relentless pressure from Mexico at the moment, though. Ecuador need to steady themselves a bit. They need to steady and just take it. Calm down. Of course, England won't be wanting to go to the Azteca Stadium to play Mexico. They'd rather play Ecuador. Of course, absolutely. Big up War Machine. Thank you so much for your super chat, my friend. I really appreciate your support and generosity. You're absolute legend. Thank you, mate. What you thinking Mora to United is in the news. It's been in the news, Gilberto Mora at Man United. I don't think that would be a bad move for Man United. 17-year-old, very highly talented. player. I like to think that Man United are going to move forward with that after the World Cup. He won't have his shortage of admirers. He's a proper player. Probably the best Mexican young player I've seen in a while. So yeah, I think that it'd be a smart move for Man United to sign Gilberto Mora. It would be, but he's not. He's wanted by a few clubs now. Barcelona and Real Madrid are lurking as well. So he's going to be wanted by a few teams, and I won't mind him. And with me, obviously, I have a good history. Obviously, with the Mexican players, we had Chicharito, and he was a success at Man United, and we should scout there more. We should scout there more, absolutely, and try and find some players from there because they're good. Sal, is Chicharito many games for Mexico? Yeah, he played lots of games for Mexico, mate. Many, yeah. He's one of their greatest ever strikers, in my opinion. He's a fire, absolutely. Javier Hernandez, Chicharito was a proper player, mate. A proper player. Like his personality, and this is what I'm talking about, scouting. Scouting, something we don't do enough. We scouted him under Alex Ferguson. We brought the likes of Diego Forlan and Javier Hernandez to the football club at the time. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And no one knew who they were at the time, but we bought them, we purchased them, and they've done very well. He had he came from Guadalajara, Chicharito. He scored about 30 goals in 60 games, something like that. And we bought him from there, and he did well for Man United. Had a 50% goal scoring record, almost a 50% goal scoring record. So he scored 28 goals in 54 appearances for Leverkusen, as well. Played for Real Madrid, scored a few goals for Real Madrid, and we got him from nowhere. He had 109 caps for Mexico, guys. 52 goals, mate. You know what I mean? 109 caps, 52 goals for Mexico. That is Chicharito. No, there are people sleep on him. Like, what a scouting mission. That's what I'm talking about, scouting. That's what I'm talking about, and finding these gems. Where would you rate Van Nistelrooy? The best finisher I've seen at Man United. That's where. The best finisher I've seen at Man United. Big up last gun standing. What's going on? I'm just home from work. Alarm went off, and that's why I'm apologies late. Alarm went off. It delayed for an hour. Last gun standing. It's delayed for an hour. It was rain, so it delayed the game for an hour. So we just started, really. We're only in the 12th minute. We bought him only, yeah, exactly, War Machine. That's what I'm talking about. Exactly that. People are very narrow-minded when it comes to scouting. They think just because it's a Mexican league or the Chilean league or wherever it is, they think there's not going to be good players there. Trust me. They offer something completely different. Yeah, only Alex Ferguson didn't overlook them. Sir Alex Ferguson purchased Chicharito from Guadalajara. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. Atmosphere really looks good at the Aztec. It's lovely there, yeah. It's a great stadium. One of the greatest stadiums in the world of history of football. Eric Cantona, the greatest Man United player in the last 50 years, I would say. Not only because of his ability, but his influence on the class of 92 and his influence at the football club. He was the missing piece of the jigsaw puzzle that contributed to Man United becoming what we became eventually. His impact on the likes of Paul Scholes, David Beckham, Gary Neville was unmatched. He was just an absolute legend, mate. And the greatest, I think, so underrated in the Premier League. Here come Mexico. Mexico on the attack again. There's the player out wide. He's got a chance here. Shot, corner. Hassan, Diego Forlan and Edison Cavani, two players for some reason I wanted at Arsenal before PSG got Cavani and United got Forlan because I knew they would squeeze in. Yeah. Obviously, Cavani signed for Napoli, went to Napoli, and he tore it apart, and he ended up being a legend, When did George Best retire? Late 70s, early 80s? Yeah. Late 70s, early 80s? He went to Los Angeles FC, didn't he? Went to America, didn't he, to play football? Props to Cantona. He went out on his own terms. Yeah. Cantona left at 27 years old at his peak, mate. 28, was it? 27, 28. You know? I saw Ahmad's goal goal at work. Unlucky not to get us to win, but what a goal it was. And Nusa. Well, to be honest with you, Ivory Coast, they deserve what they got, because not playing Ahmad and playing Pepe instead of Ahmad and things like that, they did it to themselves. They wouldn't have lost that game if Ahmad started that game. You know, they completely did it to themselves. You know, I was a little bit shocked with Norway. I didn't think Norway were good. I thought Norway were lucky in the end. They sat back and defended for their lives, and they were lucky to get the win in the end. Oh, just wide. Just wide from Gilberto Mora there. It was a very, very close. That's a great strike. Nearly from the 17-year-old. Look at that. That was close. Very, very close. Oof. That was nearly 1-0. I thought it went in for a second. Where do you rank Zlatan Ibrahimovic? Not as high as people rank him. Let me tell you why. When he used to play for Juventus, and he used to play for Ajax, Alex Ferguson didn't rate him. Did you know that? Alex Ferguson didn't rate him. But because football has regressed, and because as football regressed, he got better and better because football regressed, and he never gave us a problem playing against him. Man United never had a problem playing against Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Never gave us an issue. And we played against Juve and all of them, you know. Never had a problem against Zlatan, you know. And I think he's a great player, one of the best, but top 20 probably, top 30, not top 10, definitely not. Not in my opinion. But a great personality, definitely, you know what I mean. Yes, Gregory, that's the player I was talking about. Absolutely. Late 20s, yeah, both him and Van Basten. Yeah. Damn, that was a good shot. Very, very close. I see Norway beating Brazil though, because they are really strong up front. And I'm not impressed with Brazil, to be honest with you. That's going to be an interesting game. That's one thing I would say about that. The only problem with Norway, what I would say to Norway, don't play the name. Don't play Brazil. Play the game. Play the game. Don't play the name. There's a lot of teams that look at Brazil and they think, oh my goodness me, we're playing Brazil in the World Cup. Oh my God, what are we got? Chance. Oh, almost 1-0 to Ecuador there. It was a great strike. It was a great strike there. My goodness me, I thought it was 1-0 there for a second. It was the number 9, Yeboah. He went wide. I don't rate Norway. They're all about Haaland. I can't see them beating Brazil. I think they're going to, I think, in my opinion, Bob, I think they're going to get nervous and they're going to get scared. They got scared against Ivory Coast yesterday. And if it wasn't for Haaland, I think eventually they would have lost that game, because the way that Ivory Coast dominated that game. Let's be real, guys. Ivory Coast dominated that game. You know what I mean? I rate him, but I don't rate him as one of the best of all time in regards to the best striker of all time. I rate him. There's a difference between rating somebody and rating him as the best. I don't put him in a category of the top 5, top 10. I put him in a category as top 20, and that's a good compliment. Do you know who's in that top 20? You know what I mean? I rate a lot of people. I think, like, when you're thinking about Ibrahimovic and you think about players I've witnessed with my own eyes, right, and been at the stadium and seen them with my own eyes, I can only do that, right? I class players like Del Piero, back in them days, Zidane, and these kind of strikers who were better than him, were level above him. In those days, Bobby Fowler, Alan Shearer, Handy Cole, Dwight York, were all levels above him. When I was growing up, they were all better than him. At his young age, and when he was mid-20s, they were all better than him. What he's good at is talking. he's the best talker in the world, but he's a media puppet, and that's it. Neymar is he in your top 10. He's not in my top 50, Rob. He's overrated. Brazil have been shocking. They've been let down. Yeah. When you think about Neymar, right? Compare him to Rivaldo and talk to me. Rivaldo, talk to me. I like, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, no way. Yeah, that's it, Hassan. He ruined his career. He had the skill, he had the ability, but you're only as good as what you do, isn't it? At the end of the day, you're only as good as your longevity. Same like Ronaldinho, right? Ronaldinho is one of the most skillful players I've ever seen, but it wasn't longevity in club football and stuff like that. It was no longevity. His career is highlighted by moments, and that's it. But I would place Ronaldinho above Neymar because he won a World Cup. He won Champions League, didn't he? So I would class Ronaldinho way, way above Neymar. Neymar for me. Guys, you want skill. You want to talk about skill. Let me tell you about players that are underrated. Let me tell you about JJ Okocha, players of that ilk. You know what I mean? Who played for smaller teams, right? And, not rated because they didn't play for Barcelona and teams like that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Big up everyone in the stream. Do you think Vix is in Brazil for advanced the way to appears to be Argentina? Goal for Mexico. They've scored, guys. Mexico have scored already. It's a goal for Mexico. Quinones, one of the players I spoke about before the game. The winger has scored again. The assist master, Quinones, has scored for Mexico. Well deserved. Great goal. 1-0 to Mexico. It's 1-0 to them, guys. They are 1-0 up. Mexico are 1-0 up. 1-0 there, guys. Fantastic. There you go. 1-0 already. After 21 minutes, Quinones with the goal. And it was coming, guys. I have to admit, it was coming. There should have been 1-0 a while ago. It was great wing play. Great play. It might be. Is he offside? He might be offside here. I think he might be offside. It was in his own half. Let me have a look. I think they're going to be looking at the VAR, but what a finish. Unbelievable finish. Maybe the goalkeeper's a little bit suspect, but was that offside? I don't know. We're going to have to look at that back, but what a finish. Great finish into the top corner from Quinones. That is how you hit a football. Boom. Goalkeeper was not making himself tall enough, granted, but it was a great goal. Great goal from him. Ecuador 0, Mexico 1, guys. Ecuador 0, Mexico 1. Well deserved. They've been the better side so far this game. Should have been 1-0 up, to be fair. But again, Mexico 1-0 up, and they are going for 6 out of 6, guys, in this tournament. 6 wins out of 6 wins. They're going to be guys. Can you World Cup for Mexico? Imagine it. Imagine Mexico win the World Cup. Absolutely. Definitely. Build a wall around that. There you go, guys. The World Cup trophy. There you go, guys. 1-0 to Mexico. Congratulations. Great goal. Great goal and well played. Play the game the right way. They do. Absolutely. Bob, Brazil ain't won it since 2002. Honestly, I don't get why people always hype them up. The name in it. The name. 5-time world champions. It's just a name. That's why. They got to the, they didn't win it in 2002, by the way. They got knocked. They lost. They have won it in 2002. Sorry, they haven't won it since 2002. You're right. They lost they beat Germany, but they ain't gonna. They won it 5 times, so you let them off. And I think that's why there's the mentality that everyone has about them in it because of how many times they've won it. Brazil is just full of egos. There's no cohesion. They're not the same as they used to be. Goodness me. I mean, if you look at what players they used to have, my goodness, man for man, every single player on the pitch was like, wow, what a player, what a player, what a player, what a player. It's like that. Now it's like, yeah. Bournemouth and Brentford players, guys, playing for them. Do you know what I mean? I think we did the right thing not paying for Fernandes. I hate the Glazers and Ineos as well. I don't think we've done the right thing until we get someone else. I can only analyze the right thing once we've got someone else, More Machine. Until we got someone else, I can't say we've done the right thing, because at the end of the day, if we don't sign anyone, it affects Manchester United. So how are we going to do the right thing then? Because Scott is going to be valued about the same amount of money. Tchouameni's going to be more money. He's going to be 100 million. So who are we getting? Exactly. So until we've done something significant, I don't care about what the right thing is. That's a Glinios sort of mentality. We need to put pressure on them and make sure they bloody get some bloody players in. Because at the moment, all I see is Anderson, ticked off, nope. Now it's Mateus Fernandes, ticked off, nope. Next it'll be Tonali, ticked off, nope. So who are we going for? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. What target are we going for? Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. I mean, of course, you can't rate him above those. I mean, he's a great player. He'll be the best player today if he was playing. That was a great hit. Brazil, Ronaldo, my favorite. R9 was amazing on his day. Goodness me. Absolutely. Damn, Ronaldinho, I still can't see a player quite like him. No, there's not many. Again, attitude, isn't it? Party life. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Exactly. And the thing, Kenny, the thing about it is that everyone knew we were linked to Fernandes. Everyone knew we wanted Fernandes. Just like everyone knew we wanted Anderson. You know what I mean? Exactly the same thing. Let me just write this text. Little word of advice, guys. If you're a married man, right? Always text your wife in the morning. Every single morning, text your wife. Say something sweet. Say something nice. Little word advice, guys. For you guys, little word advice. There you go. You know what I mean? We got Belgium against Senegal. That should be a good game. That's coming up as well soon, guys. It looked offside. Viva Mexico! There you go. Behind the line, I just think. Yeah. You can't be offside if you're behind the line. Basically, yeah. Great go. It was only a matter of time. Yeah, they done. Go allowed. Yeah. Remember Brazil Ronaldo at Old Trafford in the Champions League? Does it still haunt you? I watched that on YouTube. It doesn't haunt me, no, because we won the game 4-3. We got knocked out of the Champions League. It doesn't haunt me. I was at these games. What I would say is that let me tell you a story about that. I'll tell you a story about that time, right? During that period, Roman Abramovich, who ended up taking charge of Chelsea, went to that game. He didn't like football. At that time there, he didn't like football. He hated football. After that game, he fell in love with football and wanted to buy a football club. And he ended up buying Chelsea. And the rest is history. So Chelsea, thank Man United one day. You'll thank Man United because exactly. Ronaldinho loved the bump, the candle at most ends. Exactly. And that's why he didn't have longevity. Hydration break, commercial break. MSK, big up the fans that support walking away our Glazer and Ineos in. What happened to the great Man United? We can't pay everyone with cash. And we're only paying 10 million. We only would have been paying 10 million more. We can recoup that with commercial deals, right? You know what I mean? This is the thing. This is why I don't understand it. And the problem is that Man United have exposed themselves as they want in Mateus Fernandes. He's what the priority. I had heard that. Everyone heard that he's the player we want. He wants Man United. He prioritizes Man United. Now, all of a sudden, since he's gone to Spurs, He didn't want Man United. He didn't. We didn't want him really. All this nonsense and excuses that we're making. Excuses FC. Do you know what I mean? Absolute crazy. We are cheap. That's just why we got Edison. Cheap and easy. That's why we got Edison. It's as simple as that. Right? It's as simple as that. Let's not gaslight this. Let's not gaslight people into believing that Edison is a rebirth of Roy Keane. We ain't been speaking about Edison for a year before he signed for Man United. You know? Brazil don't even play like Brazil. No, they're not Brazil anymore. I don't think anyone plays good football these days, to be fair. I mean, honestly, I don't. I think there's okay teams. You know, I don't think football's as good anymore, you know. Vinny Jr. is one of the most overrated what Brazil has now. He wouldn't get in the Brazil squad when I was younger. I'll be honest. He wouldn't get in the Brazil squad. Mexico are in control in this game, guys. I remember Oliver Kahn, he was a beast of a goalkeeper. Germany were dragged to that final by Kahn. Oliver Kahn is probably, behind Schmeichel, my favorite goalkeeper of all time. You know? He was underrated. That guy was amazing. He was a troublemaker. He was a troublemaker, no doubt about it. But he was an amazing. Oliver Kahn was a proper player, guys. He was a proper player. And he gets underrated. He goes under the radar. Do you know what I mean? Big up Marky Mark. Happy wife, happy life. I just tell her, I live in it. Exactly. 2-0. What a strike by Raul Jimenez, and it's game over, surely, guys. 2-0. Great goal by Mexico. It's 2-0 to Mexico, guys. Fantastic strike there. Another fantastic strike by Mexico. What a goal. Go on, my son. That's what you do. Bury it in the top corner. That's what we're talking about. Wow, Jimenez is having a tournament of his life, guys. He's having a tournament of his life. Big up, Mexico. Big up. Great goal. Top corner. Right there, guys. Absolutely. MSK, when we gave Carrick the job, I knew this would happen. No player would like to play for an inexperienced coach. But let's not blame Carrick here. This has nothing to do with him choosing Michael De Zerbi over Carrick. There's nothing to do with that. We would have got him if we paid the money. He chose Man United. It has nothing to do with Michael Carrick. Do not talk about Michael Carrick like that. Because Michael Carrick has won the Champions League. He's won a goddamn more than De Zerbi in his career, mate. He's more respected in midfield than a lot of managers out there, mate. He's one of the most respected players of all time. What he did in football, right? So it's nothing to do with that. Let's not play on that. It's to do with the board. It's to do with Ineos. It's to do with the Glazers. They're the problem. Nothing to do with Michael. You know, let's not bring that in. Now we've lost to Fernandez. Go and get Scott. Yeah, but how are we going to get Scott? Because he's going to be the same price as Fernandez, if not more. Because all Bournemouth are going to say is that Mateus Fernandez went for 85. He got relegated to West Ham. Scott, he got us to the Europa League. So Scott should be more, right? That's how logically thinking, isn't it? Logically thinking, this is what happens. You snooze, you lose, and you know, you end up getting nobody, you know, at the end of the day. I mean, what are we waiting for? You know, what are we waiting for? It's ridiculous. Big up, great goal. What a goal. Big up. That was a great goal. Kenny, Galinios was penny pinching. Should have got Raul Jimenez on a free. Yeah. We don't even penny pinch right. We don't even penny pinch. We can't afford. Look, listen, MSK. Let me just give you a little game here, right? We can afford all the players there. We can afford all of them. Don't get it twisted. 191 million for finishing third. 100 million for the Champions League at least. 200 million in revenue. Shirt sales, season ticket sales, right? Let's go there. 40 million from Rasmus. Money saved on Casemiro. Sancho out the door. Money saved on Sancho. We may sell Rashford. We've got the money. There's a difference between having the money and not wanting to spend the money. That's the difference. I hope Cape Verde beat Argentina. That's all. Why aren't Ineos digging in their pockets? I wish we got a Saudi soon. Because they're broke billionaires. They're not broke, but they don't want to spend money. That's how they do business. They come into the football club. How much money are we going to make? right? Where Saudi Arabia, Qatar, whoever it was, would have said, how can we make this the best football club in the world again? You know what I mean? Gregory, don't ever tell me not to yell on my channel. This is my channel, Gregory. Um, do not tell me not to yell on my channel. I have passion on this channel, right? Um, save that for your other boy, that on your other channel that you want. Never tell me what to do on this channel. And that, guys, my channel, I yell as much as I bloody want. Don't tell me to yell, mate. You all right? Don't tell me to yell. Your ball knowledge is as I've got more ball knowledge in my little bollock than you have in your entire head. So don't ever tell me to not yell on my channel, mate. I would put you down, mate, like I have just of now. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to read a comment of yours now. You don't tell me on my channel, don't yell, Sal. What the hell? Don't yell. It's Football World Cup. It's Mexico. It's a goal. What the flipping hell you want me to do? Just sit here like an old fart? What do you think this is? Financial Accountants FC. Qatari would have given Carrick the pep treatment. Yeah. If they employed him, of course. If they employed him, you know, if they employed him. People want me to sit here and talk mellow. You know what I mean? I'm a football fan. This is what I mean. I mean, he wouldn't understand it. You know, people tell me to not yell on my channel. I don't care. You know, don't ever tell me not to yell on my channel. Guys, I'm a football fan. You know what I mean? I speak with passion. I believe in what I say. You know, so at the end of the day, I can just sit here and just be like an old fart, like some of those channels, and do what I want at the end of the day. Nobody yelled at you, Gregory. Nobody yelled at you. I've not disagreed with you once today. So nobody yelled at you. But don't tell me not to yell ever on this channel. All right? Don't say that. No. Don't tell me to not yell at this channel because I get, I'm not on that, Maybe I have to yell at some people because maybe it doesn't quite clock in their head, You're too busy writing Google quotes and copy and pasting Google quotes. It's, irritating sometimes. But, that's just the way it is. Sorry. Nobody's yelling at you. You snowflake. I don't want to make a prediction after last night. Mexico winning this game. Mexico winning this game. They've dominated. They're still dominating. I wouldn't be surprised if they win 3 or 4-0 easily. Ecuador have to do something because they're losing. You know what I mean? They're losing at the moment. Big up everyone in the stream, by the way. I feel ashamed after saying that 23 pence would have been taken. Oh, that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, don't worry about it. You almost was right, but it was the opposite side of the thing. You know what I mean? It was probably the worst penalty shootout I've ever seen, mate. It's probably the worst penalty shootout I've ever seen in my life. That penalty shootout was awful. It was awful. That penalty shootout was awful. So free kick to Ecuador here. Free kick. England versus Mexico would be a very tough game for us. We definitely can't sit back and let the ball have possession. I agreed, Mark and Mark, absolutely. England would find it difficult in the Azteca, but like I said, Mark and Mark, isn't it? You got to be the best. You got to play in the most uncomfortable situations, and you got to win hard games to win. If you want to be the world champions, I would actually prefer England to play bigger teams and harder teams. No disrespect to DR Congo, because I think they'll give England a game. But I actually prefer England to play hard games because it improves you. I think. And I think England would struggle against Mexico. Yeah. I think they can beat Mexico. They have better quality than Mexico. The thing with Mexico is Mexico play well at home. Great save. Great save for Mexico there. The thing, Zamora with a great strike. Look, the thing with Mexico only play good at home. That's what it is. Any of these teams would be a problem for us. They run until they can't run no more. It's very, very impressive to see. Yeah, that's the thing. And the problem with anyone who plays at this stadium, because the thing is they play well in their stadium. This is why they haven't won a World Cup, because anywhere else they go in the world, they're pretty shit, right? Let's be honest. But when they play at home, they're a danger. They're a problem, and you're going to have to show them respect. Yeah. Hassan, Elon Musk goes to MBS in the Jaguar. MBS takes him on a tour of Jeddah in a 100-seater plane. Moral, you teach a tech a billionaire for less than a decade. We've been in there since before you were sperm. You're a tech billionaire for less than a decade. We've been in there. Yeah, exactly. Here, come on, Ecuador, get one back. Ecuador need to do something. They're playing better now. United are broke and have refinanced some debt. No, they're not broke. They're not broke. They just don't want to put their money in it. Ineos don't want to put their money in it. The Glazers are broke, but Ineos don't. Ineos was supposed to put a bit of money into the club. No problem, man. I got you, Hassan. That's fine, brother. Jurgen Klopp doesn't excuse the fact that Ineos are inept. Ineos are not broke. They're not broke. Don't fall for that old chestnut, mate. They're not broke. They just don't want to put their own money in the football club. It's simple as that. The money that they put in the football club for the facilities is the only reason they got the 26% buy of the club, because that was the deal with the Glazers. The Glazers said you must put money into the training facility if you're going to buy this club for the 26%. That's what I would say. And do not 191 million for finishing third in the league, 100 million for the Champions League, 40 million for Rasmus, 200 million in revenue, loads and loads and loads and loads of money for seats or ticket sales, for free jerseys, and the fourth one is coming as well. Let's not forget about that. Sancho off the books. Rashford is going to be sold. Ugarte is going to be off the books soon. You've got Mason Mount might be off the books. Xerxes is going to be off the books. There's loads of money coming in at Man United. The flow is ridiculous. Man United got money to spend. I do not want to use any excuses that they've got no money. They're broke. If they're broke, royally, kindly piss off. That's it. That's it. But they're not broke. It's just an excuse. That was a great save from the goalkeeper. Nearly 500 million available, and we only spent 35 on Edison. Exactly, Kenny. We got more than 500 million, mate. I know, because I know for a fact, I know people at the club, how much money we got. These guys are trying to manipulate you. They're trying to use all different technical terms and that to prevent them from spending money. Liverpool went out there and spent 500 million last summer. They've already bought Munez this summer already. Marky, yeah, I don't want to hear that nonsense. The owners are broke. We know they have money, just not comfortable spending it. We will keep calling them out on the bullshit spin they give it. Exactly, Marky Mark. And on this channel, on Stretford Post, we will continue to call them out. They've got no money. Then what the hell are you doing at Man United then? What are you doing? Get lost. Go and take charge of Stoke City or Watford. Hassan, tell me how they are broke. Debt structuring ensures safety of personal assets. The club revenue covers the overhaul. Anyone who has overworked in sports finance can tell you that. Thank you, Hassan. Thank you, Hassan. Spot on. But look how much money, that aside, how much money we've made this season. People don't understand how much money Man United make. They ignore the amount of money Man United make a year. They ignore that. They ignore that old chestnut, how much money we make. Everything's all about how much money we ain't got, not how much money we make. We can go out there and spend 100 million on 5 players, every single one, 100 million, 100 million, 100 million, 100 million. We'd be all right. It's just all light gaslighting, so it goes in their bloody pockets. All they care about, right? If they've got no money, do not build a stadium. It's as simple as that. You know? Greg, the gaslighting never ends with Manchester United. There's gaslighting and people get lighted. It's as simple as that, you know? It's gaslighting and people get lighted. You know, people get on fire. They believe it. Oh my goodness me, it must be right because Jim said it. Let's just consider this, guys. Jim Ratcliffe said he's a Man United fan, right? Yet there's no evidence in the last 80 years he's been on this planet, before the buyout, partial buyout, that he's a Man United fan. No photo, no witnesses, no nothing to suggest he's a Man United fan. Nothing. And he's from Manchester, born and bred. Yeah, everything. Let's be real here, guys. Let's tell it as it is. Where's his photos? When I was growing up, I didn't have a pot to piss in. Poor. I still have evidence that I was a Man United fan. Right? I still have evidence. He has none. There's nothing with him, a scarf, nothing drinking out of a coffee mug, nothing. A Man United coffee mug, nothing. Yet, he was willing to buy Chelsea before Man United. He has a Chelsea season ticket, doesn't he? He lied to people. Where was the fact that he was going to buy the club in 2026? Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's July the 1st, 2026. What's going on with that then? Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. You think you honestly believe they got no money? I've heard people from Ineos saying they could spend $1 billion on Man United and wouldn't even feel it. I've heard people say that to me. Right? And here we are. Marky, just like you always said, where we are in the 3 billion, so Jim was going to spend Chelsea, 4 billion, exactly. 4 billion, yeah, nearly 4 billion. So I appreciate your conduct this morning on Breaking Dawn. Thank you, Gregory. Well, that was yesterday for me. Obviously, my time difference is different to yours. Thank you so much, Gregory. I will be back later on on Breaking Dawn, Gregory. Much appreciated. I mean, FFP might be a hurdle, but other than that, yeah, theoretically, it's possible. Do you think it's a hurdle, Hassan? Man City have made a mockery out of FFP. A mockery. CRC, whatever it is, they've made a mockery out of it. Why are we such goody two-shoes? You know? It's a joke. It's an excuse. We've got the money. We've got money coming in. The amount of money that we accumulate organically, not like Newcastle, we make a lot of money, Man United. Everywhere you go in the world, you will see Man United jerseys, Man United merch, everywhere you go. I go to Naples, Hassan, a lot. I'm going to Naples, you know, on Saturday in Italy. And my in-laws are there as well. And I do a lot of work out there in Italy, right? And I see Man United jerseys in Italy, in Naples. You know, I see Man United jerseys in Abu Dhabi, where I am. You know, I see more Man United jerseys in Abu Dhabi than I see Man City. And this is the home of Man City, right? Theoretically. You know, so that's what I mean. You know, I don't want to be hearing any excuses for them, any indirect excuses for them. I'm tired of the excuses, man. Like, if there's one word to sum up the Glazers, and there's one word to sum up Ineos's time at Man United so far. Do you know what that word is? Do you know what that word is? The one word that summarizes Ineos so far. And I want to know yours as well. What is the one word that summarizes Ineos up? My word is excuses. That's my word. Excuses. That's my word. That is the one word that I would sum up Ineos right now. 5 minutes of injury time, guys. Got 1 minute left. 2 minutes left of the 5 minutes to go. 2-0 to Ecuador. 2-0 to Mexico. He was at Chelsea games before he bought a United, even bidded for Chelsea. He's a fraud. Exactly, mate. He's a liar, and stupid people fell for it. They are stupid because it harmed our football club. They're absolutely stupid. Big platforms, little brains. You know, a lot of these people wouldn't have platforms. Some of these people gaslight Ineos. They wouldn't have platforms if it wasn't for other people. The club has over 1 billion debt, costs 60 million charge a year, need 200 billion on the stadium. The finances are not good. They're not good, mate. They are good, mate. The finances are coming in. We've got money to spend. We can cover the debt for Man United with the 65 million. And if there's so much in debt, why are they looking at spending 200 million on the stadium? Isn't that the wrong choice? to go after a stadium before you built the football team, my friend? Isn't that wrong? You know? And if they didn't have the money, right? Businesses are built from debt anyway. A lot of businesses are, right? Let's go on down that little route there. They've got enough money to spend big in this window. Enough, right? If they haven't got the money, why on earth are they going after a stadium? It shouldn't that be the last thing on your mind? You know, if I was broke, would I buy myself a Ferrari or would I buy myself a house? If I was broke, like, let's say like I had money for a Ferrari or money for a house, right? Let's say one of those, and I only could buy one. What am I going to buy? Right? I've got a family. What am I going to buy? A house, right? Not a Ferrari. The stadium's the Ferrari. You don't go and buy a stadium if you've got no money, and they have got money. Ineos have got money. Let's not use this old notion. They're frauds. They've got money. They don't want to spend money. Right? Man United have been in debt for 25 years. Even the Glazers spent more than them. You know? Man City backed by a nation, unfortunately. That's the reality of the situation. Yeah, absolutely. Hassan, FFP is not an issue for Man United. That's a gaslighting excuse. Exactly. We're the only club, halftime, guys. We're the only club that talk about FFP and PSR. No other big club talk about it. We're the only club that go on and on and on about it. You know, we got money for transfers. Our revenue, 65 million, we have to spend on debt. Or we're not even paying capital on that anyway, but forget that, right? 65 million. I've just told you, 191 million for finishing third in the league, right? 200 million in revenue. That's not including shirt sales. 4 jerseys are going to be released. Season tickets, right? We saved money on Casemiro a year. We saved money on Sancho a year. We got 40 million for Rasmus. 100 million for the Champions League. What are we doing here? You don't think other clubs up there? Tottenham built a stadium. $1 billion. It cost them $1 billion. They built a stadium. They still could splash money on Mateus Fernandes. I do not want to hear anything, any gaslighting of this. No. You know? I feel sorry for Carrick as well. I honestly do. It's a joke, you know. I honestly feel sorry for Carrick as well. Would Radcliffe be a better option manager? I ain't Brit, so I don't call him. I don't call anyone sir, mate. I only call him Jim. I only call Alex Sir Alex. So yes, Sir Alex is different. He's actually built the club. I respect the determination. Radcliffe should just go away. And I'll tell you why. At Nice, is it hard to manage a team in France? There's not much competition there, is there, Hassan? You know, Nice, like, you know, when you think about it, who you got to compete with in France? Yet he almost got relegated with Nice. It took a playoff against Saint Etienne for them to stay up. You know what I mean? They got Lausanne in Switzerland relegated. Right now, as we speak, let's talk about facts here. On a footballing side, Nice almost relegated, right? It took a playoff to survive. Lausanne relegated. That is Jim Ratcliffe's legacy in football, right? That's his legacy. So he wants to take the biggest club, one of the biggest clubs in the world, and make them successful again by penny pinching. Mate, you couldn't make Nice. I mean, you, me, Hassan, can make Nice successful in France. At least get to the Champions League, right? At least get to European football, mate. You know, innit? It's not hard to go to Nice and be successful if you've got money, right? If you're good at football, you would know. You pick up all the talent from here and there and you'll do well in France. You know? There's only PSG. Well, you have to look at Marseille, maybe Lille, Lyon. Maybe. Nothing's there. You know, and for him to get relegated, nearly relegated, if it wasn't for a playoff system, they would have got relegated in France. It's unbelievable. It's crazy, man, when you think about it. And then you think about Lausanne and they got them relegated. I mean, Switzerland, the Swiss league. It's unreal, man. And there's still people gaslighting them. They are not good enough for this football club. You know, this 1.1 billion, yeah, whatever. Like, you know, at the end of the day, then they shouldn't have facilitated the Glazers, then, should they? Because they're the ones who slept with the Glazers. They're the ones who went to bed with the Glazers. Them. Right? They gave the Glazers mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. They gave them, the Ineos, gave the Glazers mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. You know? I've never, ever forgiven them for that. And people say, oh, but, Qatar weren't going to pay. They couldn't prove their funds. Oh, yes, they could. Don't believe that manipulation again. You know what I mean? Because that was a lie as well. That was a lie to slander the Qatar bid. Like Sheikh Jassim Hamid doesn't exist, yet he's taking selfies at the World Cup Championship with fans. Liars, manipulators, absolute liars and manipulators. And I will carry on banging this drum, as I always done. And I'll carry on saying that. Guys, we needed a generational window this window. We were promised Anderson January. We knew how much Anderson was. We knew he was a 100 million player. Summer comes like magic, isn't it? We've been chasing Mateus Fernandes for how long? We lose that to Spurs by a few million, Yeah, they did save him. They saved the Glazers. Yes. They gave him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, Greg. That's what they did. Right. Basically, what it was, Qatar were Manchester United's life support machine. Right? The life support machine is about to be saved. The person on the bed is about to be saved, right? Jim Ratcliffe came along and took the plug out the life support machine and called the Glazers. Charged his phone and called the Glazers. That's what Jim Ratcliffe did, If we get Baleba, we might as well fold the club. Bawardi, yes. Bawardi, great player. If we get Baleba, fold the club. Fold the club. That guy has been awful for a year. I'm not even interested in Baleba. No chance. Hassan, I remember when my brother told me about Ratcliffe relegating Lausanne. I thought my ass off. I laughed my ass off. I never thought I'd say it, but my sympathies for United fans, one bum after another. I mean, how do you get relegated in the Swiss league, Hassan? How? How do you get relegated in the Swiss league? How do you get relegated in France? You can't even come mid-table. Who's in France? Below PSG, Marseille, Monaco, maybe. Who else? Lille? Who you got? You can't even come mid-table in France. You know how many guys? I can't believe it. You know what I mean? Zaya, do you think he's been bad because he's mentally affected by not getting United moved? The manager's no. If he's mentally affected by not getting the Man United move, he's not a Man United player. If you get mentally affected by being linked to Manchester United, then you're not a Man United player. Then mentally, you're not right for Man United. It's simple as that. We deal with facts here. He hasn't played well. He shouldn't be playing for Man United. Simple as that. Play well, sort your mentality out, grow up, grow a pair, and play football. He's weak. Man United don't need weak characters. Simple as that. Just like he's weak with Cameroon, who didn't get to the World Cup. Thank you so much again, War Machine, for your generosity and kindness. You're a legend, mate. Thank you so much for joining the channel again. It's good to see you. Ineos and Glazers out all day long, my bro. Absolutely, all day long. Ineos and Glazers out this football club. Get out of our football club, man. Honest to God, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. Yeah, if we went and got Baleba, we might as well fold as a football club. Ineos own Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Their stadium is falling apart. Nice in France, run like a circus. Two owners combining into one makes United a joke club. They are a joke. They are the joke. Man United is a historical legacy, a heritage football club that will always be there. But they are running the club like a joke, and they treating the club like a joke, Couldn't even compete with a handkerchief. Yeah, absolutely. I hope that this loser mentality doesn't tackle it. It will, mate. With every single business, you are what you are at the top, innit? The top is a representation of what you are at the bottom, all the way it runs through the way you run as a football club and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? The Glazers own Tampa Bay. Sorry. Yeah, big. I got you, bro. I got you. I can't even name a Swiss league team other than Young Boys. I only remember Young Boys because I thought it was silly. Yeah. Young Boys Bern, Basel, Servette. There's not many there, to be honest with you. And how you get relegated from that league. Grasshoppers. How you get relegated from that league, I don't know, honestly. I think it will come down to the stadium because there's no one who will loan us 2 billion. So either way, we sell up. But I hope they sell, mate. We don't need a stadium, especially built by them. It's like Cal making the club dry of its money and hiding away. Yeah, they're destroying this football club, mate. But you know what? You know what? Can I just say something? A lot of our fans are to blame because they accept this. A lot of our fans are to blame. They've openly accepted this. You know, it's a disgrace. They're just as much as a disgrace than anyone else. You know, the fans who accept the mediocrity, the fans who continue to gaslight us into believing that Ineos are this sort of savior of the football club. Absolute clowns, man. Clowns. Big platforms, little brains. You know? Isn't it ironic that Man United revenue can one or half a revenue of Man United revenue can still win the Europa League while Man United lost to Spurs in the previous season? That has nothing to do with it. Everyone can lose football matches. Isn't it ironic that Aston Villa have never won the league in 50 years? It doesn't really matter, does it, at the end of the day? But Leicester can win the league. It's just, it doesn't matter. Should have won. Man United are toxic at the back. It's nothing to do with that. Man United are toxic. It's what to do in the background as well. Everything, the way Man United's run is wrong. And if you do that, fine margins of football. If Man United played Aston Villa in the Europa League, they'd beat Aston Villa. As simple as that. That's true. But at the end of the day, we lost to Tottenham because that was Amorim's first 6 months in charge and everything was a mess. That's why. Everything was all over the place. Even Bruno was going to leave at that time. If Carrick gets sacked, then it's going to be Steve Holland as an interim. I hope not. Go on, let's bring Steve Holland in because everyone seems to rate Steve Holland. He's a flop at England. Hasn't done anything since. You know, this is the thing. We rate mediocrity. We rate what we never used to rate. We rate now. You know, that's the thing. I only think AC Milan, yeah, because other teams will. If it was Liverpool, they'll force their owners out. They would. They wouldn't allow it to happen. We allow it to happen. AC Milan, a proper football club, like they don't take shit. We get manipulated by little things. We're like little soft, little Barney dinosaurs. You know, that's what we are. That's the thing. That's how we are. They're doing very badly, man. They should have been relegated. Baleba, his club keeps him on 12K a week rather than 100K United. This would affect anyone mentally in the family. I have sympathy. Oh, you loser, mate. Shut up, Jurgen, man. You have sympathy for someone earning 12 grand a week so you can't perform for the football club that gave you an opportunity. Please, mate, don't give me that crap. Don't give me that Baleba nonsense. Don't give me that crap that he did. He didn't perform well. Hold it. He's crap, mate, this season. Hold it. No excuses. What happened to Anderson when he was linked to Man United and didn't get his move last year? What happened to him? You know, no, he played well for his football club. What happened to Anderson when he lost his mother during the season and he still played for his football club? What happened to him? I feel sympathy for him. He didn't play football. I feel sorry for him. Get the fuck out of here, mate. I'll be honest with you. Real talk. You know, this is ridiculous. This is the mediocrity here. You know, oh, he didn't. Oh, you know, poor him. He's getting 12 grand a week. Then open your bloody mouth and say, I want to leave Brighton and I want to go to Man United. Do that. Or look after your own performances because in October, he was promised a move to Man United if he performed. He didn't perform. He was promised a move to Man United in October. If you perform, everything's all good. We spoke to him. Agreement's all done. In October, last October, he didn't perform. Sympathy, my ass. My goodness me. Crazy. Only Mexico and Spain have kept clean sheets. They're doing very well, Mexico. You know what I mean? Absolutely. I'm not sure I want watch getting Baleba for like 80 million and Rashford is back. I mean, can you imagine that, Paul? It's ridiculous. Feel sorry for Baleba. Come on, man. Come on, grow a pair of cojones, this man. Grow a pair of bollocks, man. Come on. This is getting ridiculous. I feel sorry for it because he's only getting 12 grand a week. Oh my goodness me. I mean, boo-boo. No, no wonder we're in the mediocrity zone, man. Baleba is nowhere near what we need in terms of levels. Exactly. Exactly. How did he do for Cameroon? Where are they in the World Cup? I'm still waiting for their games. I've seen Cape Verde in the World Cup. I haven't seen them. Where are they? Hmm? You know, they just please, like, you know, give me this nonsense. Like, this feel sorry for. I feel sorry for him, to be honest, because he would have got 100 grand. So it's all about money, then, is it? So it's all about money for Carlos Baleba that he didn't perform. Was it money? Oh, don't make anyone. Yeah, you. That's why you don't have money, because you worship it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. I'm sick and tired of this class mediocrity. Me too. And fans like that just add to the mediocrity. They add to it. You know what I mean? So I bet you were running for the club. Then United would have entire second string of players and 11 positions for under 2 million in a single window. I would smash it, Gregory. I'd be humbly would smash it. I would actually not even spend that much money. I'll find them talent for them. I would. You know, if they can't spend money, I'll find them talent and I'll find the right Man United player for them. If they want me, I'm here. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I know they heard me about selling Le Mans. I mentioned him before that anyone was talking about him. I know they heard me about that, but there you go. Mainly, Baleba doesn't work with nobody. He's not performing well for his football club. Doesn't deserve to be at Man United. Simple as that, side. End of story. End of discussion. You know, that's it. Why does he work with Baleba and Mainly work together? And what world do you work that out? They're very similar. They're two of the same players. Why? That doesn't make any sense. Scott and Mainly would work. Scott's a better player than Baleba. 10 times better player than Baleba. Good players work. You know, so let's stop making excuses for Baleba. He flopped this season. Yeah, what guys? You know Evan Ferguson, who used to play for Brighton, right? Yeah, you know Evan Ferguson that used to play for Brighton, right? He was deemed the next Wayne Rooney. He had one good season, and then he flopped. We don't go after Evan Ferguson, you know. Baleba shit. It's simple that. CDM number 8, number 10 is shit. That's it. End of story. Do we have Baleba? I think we have a lot of Baleba bots. We do, and Baleba's not a good player. It's as simple as that. I've seen him, watched him every season. How many times were he hooked from Brighton this season? How many times did he come off for a substitute this season? Do you want to get me to pull up the stats again? He's only completed 12 games the whole season. He's been substituted and substituted in games. That's how bad he is. So people just think, oh, let's go and sign Eric Dyer. He's more defensive. Let's go and sign Eric Dyer. Should we go and get Eric Dyer? Because at least he's better than Baleba. He will fit more with Mainu. Don't buy a player just because you think he could fit because he plays defensive. Because he's shit. All right? You don't think so, but he's an all-rounder, Zayed. He can do everything. He can do everything. He's better than Baleba. I would rather have Alex Scott in the midfield. I would rather have Bruno in the midfield than Baleba. Maybe there will be an Abu Dhabi or Dubai bid someday and your dream will come true. It's not my dream. It's Man United's dream, Gregory. Most Man United fans who actually have ambition for this football club, you know, want Abu Dhabi, want Qatar. It's not my dream, Gregory. It's Manchester United's dream, right? Manchester United's dream's full sail, glazes out. I don't care who buys a football club, as long as they only want what's good for the football club, you know? I rather Baradi as well, but we're not going to get Baradi. Man City are already in talks with Baradi right now, Zayed. Man City. First of all, we would sign a player to fit with Mainu. Mainu is not good enough to short starter. I agree with JDC here. This obviously I like Mainu. I think he's a good player, but obviously he can't be guaranteed a spot in the team. This is what we're talking about, competition, isn't it, JDC? We're talking about competition. But if we're going to have competition, we've got to have competition for players that are as good as or better than Mainu. Right? Not worse. You know, they've got to be better, you know? That's true, Paul. Very true. Either way, it's not good enough for Man United. It's not what Man United need, right? Either way, it's exactly that. It's exactly what I'm talking about. Either way, it's not what Man United need. You know what I mean? We don't want any Americans, to be honest with you. They're not interested in the club. They're not interested in making Man United the best. They're interested in their pockets. Our fans talk about Manu like he's Pedri. Well, I don't look at football like that, JDC, because I know a lot of people rate Pedri as this big, big, massive. Why is Pedri rated so highly? He's a good player, but why? You know, he's at a settled football club. If Manu was at Barcelona, he'd probably be good as well. I don't like to compare that. I don't like to say he's this or he's that. You know, I just know that we have to be cautious with players and be, you know, clever, not overrate them, not overhype them too soon. And that goes with Pedri as well at Barcelona. You know, everyone gets hyped too soon, you know, and in my opinion. Would you take Elon Musk as an owner even with the far right views? No. Because he won't spend money on a football team. He won't make Man United the best. He will concentrate on infrastructure. That's all he will think about. He'll be like Jim Ratcliffe. He'll be thinking about infrastructure, this and that. But if he came in and he promised Man United being successful, if he could put his politics to one side, I wouldn't mind that. If he could put his politics to one side, I don't mind. But he won't, will he? And that's the thing. But he's not going to buy Man United, unfortunately. You know, he won't buy Man. I would take anyone down to the Glazers at this moment, though. I'll be honest with you, Zaid, my friend. I would take anyone other than the Glazers. Don't want the Glazers at the football club. We need to get rid of them. Pedro stink at the World Cup. You know, some people, no. There's loads of parties, Gregory, who are interested in, consortiums who are interested in Manchester United, yes. There's a few out there that are interested in Man United, that are interested in making Man United successful again. You know? They're not going to at the moment. As you know, Gregory, it's been a difficult time in the UAE and obviously the Middle East because of a certain guy who's orange. Yeah, it's been a difficult time. And I don't think the priority now is buying a football club because of what's been going on this last year. 6 months, was it? February, March, April, May, June, July. Wow, 5 months. What's been going on. So basically it's about stabilization before anything else. And that's it. All right. Elon Musk will further destroy this football club with his nonsense AI prompts. Yeah, Kenny. Would you take Chelsea owners? They're worse in my opinion. I wouldn't take Chelsea owners, no. I wouldn't take anyone who's not interested in building the football club the right way. Making the club a success again now. I don't believe in projects. I don't believe in like buying 20, 18-year-olds and trust me, bruv, sort of thing, eight-year contracts. And that's not how football teams work. And also successful football teams. And also it's bad on the players too. And the players are not happy. You know, it's difficult to get rid of them and stuff. It's a very bad model that Chelsea have set. And funny enough, right, Jim Ratcliffe models himself around Chelsea. You know that he models his way around. You know, there is a cancer at the heart of Manchester United, and it occupies the owner's box. Yes, Gregory, absolutely, 100%, my friend. Look, guys, I'm passionate about this subject, right? I've always been passionate about this subject since the day they walked into the football club. Since I was standing on the Stretford end with my green and gold scarf, right? I was there, right? And I'm very, very passionate. It upsets me. It annoys me, as you can tell. And I don't want to accept mediocrity at this football club. I don't want any weak pillows, no snowflakes at this football club. He who dares wins in life, right? He who dares wins. And that goes with players, ownership, everything, you know? I don't want excuses for the Glazers. I don't want any excuses for potential players who could sign for Man United. I don't want any excuses. Because that is the word that I give Ineos, excuses. That's the main word. That if I was to sum up them as in one word, it would be the word excuses. You know what I mean? Hassan, I heard the Emirates Group was once interested in buying Man United back in 2000s. I'm not sure how true that was, but it was. They've always been interested to buy. Want to create a rivalry of Abu Dhabi in regards to the two football teams, Man United and Man City. Originally, I live in Abu Dhabi. The two teams want to have two big football clubs and want to compete against each other. Ideally, there was rumors, but the Glazers are overpricing, and no matter how much money you have, if Man United are valued at 3 billion and you want to charge 6 billion for Man United plus the 1 billion in debt, that doesn't cover that. It's very, even the richest people wouldn't be that stupid to buy the football club. So basically, they're stifling the opportunity for big companies or big entities to purchase the football club, and that's what they're doing. The Glazers never understood winning things brings more money. Because they only care about short-term money, Paul. They only care about what's in their pockets now. They want money now. We run out of money, remortgage. That's all they understand. We run out of money, take more money at the football club. We run out of money, take more money at the football club. You know what I mean? Do you think we'll go 20 years without a title, Zayed? No. But that depends. It depends on who we have in charge of this football club. I can see it if we still got the Glazers and Jim. At this rate where we're going, Zayed, right now, I don't think Man United are ever going to win a title like that. Right now, as we stand, right, Man United are in a magnificent position. We came third in the league. The league is not that great, by the way, right? We have an opportunity to challenge for the league if we are serious in the transfer market. Now, right now, as we stand, we've lost Anderson, we've lost Mateus Fernandes. That's not a good start, bruv, in any world, right? And if Paleba and all these the players are so good, they're so brilliant, how come Spurs, Liverpool, Chelsea, City, PSG don't want Paleba, but they definitely want Mateus Fernandes, right? Nobody wants Paleba. Why? If we have that mentality, we're never going to win a league. But if we build this team properly, invest in the first team, we can. You know what I mean? We can do whatever we want to do. Still 2-0 to Mexico, guys. Mexico 2, Ecuador 0 in this game. Syed, they don't care about the Bucks, but both franchises worth $6 billion. Yep. No one is going to pay $7 billion for United. No one is going to. No matter how much money you got, you're not going to overpay that much. You may overpay a little bit, maybe 1 billion, 2 billion. You're not going to pay double the price of Man United. Man United is worth 3.8 billion. They're not worth 6.57 billion that they were trying to charge, I think Ineos, plus the billion in debt, they don't want to cover that, by the way. I think Ineos is worse than the Glazers. At least we spent money under the Glazers and guys. We just didn't spend it right. Yeah. Ineos are the Glazers. The Ineos are a penny pinching Glazers. If you ever seen Inspector Gadget, they're go gadget Glazers. That's what they are. An extension of the Glazers. That's what they are. We haven't won a Premier League title since Joe and Avram took over. Their father left us with his idiot. We only won the Premier League title under Malcolm because Alex Ferguson. And Man United already had the nucleus of their team already built from the early 2000s. We already bought Ronaldo and Rooney and Ferdinand and all these players. They're already at the football club. So we already had the nucleus of a football team. When the Glazers come in, they just carried that on, and Alex Ferguson, the genius, to do everything. What really, truly exposed them was when we lost Ronaldo for a lot cheaper than we should have sold him, by the way, and who we brought into the football club. Their sons and their daughters and their brothers and how many thousands of Glazers there is, they are not interested in making this football team a success. They're interested in money. That's it. And just milking this football club dry. Our best getting relegated to finish. It won't matter. Sorry, I've said this many times. I know about this. Man United get relegated, it won't matter. Man United will still sell season tickets. Man United will still sell shirts. And if they lose money on Premier League revenue, they will just sell a couple of players, mate. That's what they would do. Man United accumulate money. Man United will always be, even since 1974 when they get relegated, the fans never go down. The shirts always get sold. They still make money. It will make no difference. It's a very, very risky thing to say to get relegated. No. You know, that's what I would say about that. You know, it won't make a difference. Um, as you said many times, Sal, wealthy people remain wealthy by not spending money. I've met billionaires, Gregory, that I wouldn't even know are billionaires. I met billionaires that I wouldn't even know. I met millionaires that I wouldn't even know. Billionaires that were a couple of billionaires that I've met, I wouldn't even know that were billionaires. They would never spend a penny on you. They would never, they would never spend any money. Like if you walked into a restaurant, they'll never go into their wallet. They'll never say, "Let me get this," or if you walk into a superstore looking for some clothes, they'll never spend money on you. You know what I mean? Go gadget glazers, absolutely, Hassan. That's what they are. Spectre Gadget FC, mate. They're go gadget glazers of the. That's what they are. They're the go gadget of glazers. You know, they're the extension arm. You know what I mean? Crazy. Yeah, he's the one who put us in this position. He was the one who came in the first place, isn't it? Malcolm Glazer was the one who came initially, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean? He was the one who came in the first place, wasn't he? Yeah. I get you, man. But none of them are good, mate. None of them are good. I don't think any of them are good. They're all as bad as one another. They all had bad intentions from the start. You know what I mean? Yeah, nowadays, Zayed, it's actually illegal now. My biggest concern about it is that why can't we do retrospective action, and say like, right, okay, you purchased a football club back then. It's illegal now. I understand that you own a football club now. That's granted, but you have to pay off the debt. That's what should happen. Right now, they should be forced to pay off the debt at Man United. That's what the UK government should be doing. What Manchester United alone have done for the UK economy is unrivaled. They've done so much for the UK economy. So what they should say as a reward, they should say to the Glazers, right, you want to stay at Man United, it is illegal to purchase a football club like that now. You pay off the debt, right? And then you can carry on owning the football club. Watch them cry. Watch them run. Watch them run a mile. Why can't they do that? They've done shit with Abramovich. Abramovich actually done something for English football. Abramovich actually built a football club from nothing, by the way, into one of the biggest, probably the most successful London European team. You know, Chelsea were nothing before Abramovich. At least Abramovich done something for England, for the English league. What's the Glazers done exactly? Now, what's the Glazers? If the Glazers were Russian or Arabic, we all know what would be happening right now. The government would have pushed them out of the country. Now, this is what will happen. They are still they purchased a club for 500 million. We are now 1.1 billion in debt because of them. I don't want to hear any excuses anymore. And obviously the Ineos were the facilitators for them. Exactly, Hassan. I agree with Hassan here. Do not wish for relegation. No, because it won't help. And it will further destroy the club long term. It will further destroy the club long term if you get relegated. A long term pain. Yeah. Arse Leeds and Arse teams like that. They won't leave even if we get relegated anyway. Man United never going to get relegated, but they won't leave. Anyway, the closest we come was under Amorim, and I don't think they really care about that. The thing is that they will make more money for themselves by just selling a couple of players. You know what I mean? They're American, mate. Mr. Solo, big up, Mr. Solo. Hope you're doing well. Solo Liam. The Glazers are holding Manchester United back. At least City invested in it. Yeah, because exactly what I said, Jurgen. And Ineos are the same because Ineos facilitated them. They went to bed with them. Ineos have no interest in putting money into Man United, right? The difference between Ineos, the Glazers, and Abu Dhabi and the Emirates and Saudi Arabia, let's not talk about Saudi because obviously there's context behind Newcastle and their profitability in that. But in regards to Qatar and Abu Dhabi, they want to make them the best team in the world. They want to make Man City, as much as it will cost, the best team in the world. This is why they've just gone out and spent 160 million on Anderson, right? And I don't want to hear people bantering Man City for how much they spent on Anderson. We are nobody to speak. We're something that I thought we would never be. Bantering Man City for spending money. I never thought we'd be that. Bantering them for trying to be ambitious, you know? Qatar, UAE, they would buy Man United and try and make them the best team in the world. Whereas Jim Ratcliffe and the Glazers want to try and make money. They have no care. The football's last. The football's last. As long as they're making money, it doesn't matter about the football. Money first. And that's what it is, guys. Still 2-0 to Mexico, guys, here. Roman Abramovich spent tons of money, still made profit, true businessman. Done it the right way. One of the best owners, if not the best owner of a football club of all time, in my opinion. Because he didn't come into Chelsea, where Chelsea were serial winners of the Premier League. They hadn't won the Premier League in 50 years. Here come Mexico. And then he came in and he transformed Chelsea. You know, transformed them. Right? Yeah, you know what? War happens and stuff like that. And everyone brushes it under the carpet when it's you know, what's going on right now. You know what I mean? With the Glazers. They shouldn't be owning a football club. The fear of them just passing it on to their kids is real. Big up to you, bro. I'm a United fan, but I'm also your fan. You're a legend, mate. Thank you so much. It's dope to see you hustle and build your presence. Thank you so much, Solo. I appreciate you, my friend. A really nice comment this morning. Thank you, mate. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. It's good to see you here, mate. Good to see you. Don't forget, guys, I will be back at 10 a.m., 7 a.m. UK time. 7 a.m. UK time for Breaking Dawn with the latest Man United news, of course. I'm dreading it, guys. It's gonna be one of those shows. I got a feeling it's gonna be one of those shows, guys. It's gonna be one of those. I am honestly dreading it. I really am. Anyway, Mexico 2, Ecuador 0, guys. Mexico have been very comfortable in this game, I'll be honest with you. Here come Mexico on the left-hand side. They got the ball here. Can they find the man this time? Listen, they've almost got a third a couple of times, man. They've almost got a third. Exactly, so none of us would complain if we would have gotten Anderson for 100+ million. No, exactly. But the funny thing is that, Kenny, I'm hearing excuses about Anderson. Why we didn't get Anderson. I mean, excuses about Mateus Fernandes. Excuses. We're becoming losers, guys. Loserville FC, man. Let's change our name. Loserville FC. We're becoming losers. We're coming like a mentality of losers. A bunch of old whining excuse makers. That's what we are at the moment. Oh, well, I'm glad we didn't spend, money on Mateus Fernandes. We didn't spend 10 extra million on Mateus Fernandes. I'm glad we didn't do that. Yeah, you go, Ineos. You go for it, Glazers. You're a facilitator. You're accomplice to the Glazers and Ineos if you say that. Right? I'm glad we didn't spend money on Anderson. 116 million. They overspent by only 15 million. Good save from Ecuador goalkeeper from the corner. Great save. They overspent by 15 million only. I guarantee you he's going to be a success for Manchester City. And then they won't be thinking about that 15 million anymore. They will actually recoup the money that they spent. You know? Trust me. Yeah. I'm being honest, guys. It drives me crazy. Something. Oh, another header or just wide for Mexico, Ken. Yeah, this is a very comfortable game for Mexico, to be honest with you. So I thought that Ecuador would be putting up a little bit more of a fight, if I'm being totally honest with you. They haven't really put up a fight, if I be real, guys. I know, but, you know what I mean. It's not their fault. It's a hard game. People need to understand that football makes market is heavily inflated. 150 million today is 90 million in the past. Exactly, JDC. Inflation, cost of living, People look at it for the number. They only look at it for the number. They don't look at on a realism level. You know what I mean? Hydration break. I think the Glazers' biggest mistake was replacing Gill and Woodward with that rapidly sped up decline of United. Gill wanted to leave anyway, I think. Hassan, Mexico still trying to get a goal, a bright approach. 3-0 is a breathing room. Proper team, Hassan. Proper team. Played football the right way. Been more impressed with Mexico than Spain. Yeah, I've been very, very impressed. But Mexico, let me just say this, and I don't want to bring down it, but they only play at home. Sorry. They're only good at home. And if they play all their games in the Azteca, they got a very good chance to win the World Cup. But I don't think all their games are going to be at the Azteca, you know. Wood was one of the worst things to happen. It was awful. I mean, remember all the memes and things like that. Mexico looking scary at the moment, very quick on the counter, could cause us some problems. Yes. Hell yes. They're going to cause us a lot of problems. Yes. But that's what you have to do in the World Cup. You have, and in the Champions League, in the World Cup, if you want to be the best, you've got to beat the best. You've got to beat teams that are going to be difficult to play against. And that's how, if you really want to be the best, you know when I was, Man United back in the 90s, right? And back in the 90s, there were a lot of good football teams. There are much more world-class players than there is now, elite. And I didn't bother who we played against. It never worried me. I always felt that, yeah, we need to beat these teams anyway. So let's just go out and do it. Now, Mexico, let me give you an example, right? If Mexico were playing Spain, or Mexico were playing Argentina, or Mexico were playing France, you wouldn't expect Mexico to beat them. Because you know that France and Spain can handle the occasion, right? And that's the difference, isn't it? If France played Mexico, France will go through. I'm not saying this so that this is what I'm talking about, but that's the levels, isn't it? You got to get to those levels of, yeah, we can win that game. You know what I mean? And you got to win these games. You think Mexico got a chance against England? Yes, but England will win, I think, because England have better players. England should win. Man for man, England have much better players than Mexico. We're talking about their best player is Raul Jimenez, who plays for Wolves, mate. We're talking about Nico, we're talking about Gilberto Moro, who's just a 17-year-old guy, is their best player. They're a good team, but they're not invincible. And will they cause England problems under Tuchel? Yes. I wouldn't be surprised if they beat England. I wouldn't be surprised. But England should beat Mexico. It's as simple as that. If we lose to Mexico, it's a disaster. It's an embarrassment. It is. Even if it is at the Azteca. Newcastle still flop with Saudis backing, so even if a Qatar Newcastle flop 10, let's not go there. Newcastle flop because FFP and PSR, they don't accumulate money. So no matter how much money Saudi Arabia have, right? No matter how much money Saudi Arabia have, they can't spend it because of FFP rules and PSR rules. So because Newcastle United don't have money, they don't make money organically. Manchester United make money, make a lot of money, make money all around the world, like I've said. So that's the difference. And then if Man United were free of debt from Qatar or someone like that, Man United's FFP, PSR, because of the money that we make organically, goes like this. Way, way higher. Comprende? There you go. That's why. Right? So that's not... Qatar would have blown it at the bloody water, mate. They would have absolutely revolutionized Man United. And so would the UAE. And so would all these places. Jim Ratcliffe, let's not make excuses for them. The only reason Newcastle don't succeed is because they don't make money organically. This is why Saudi want to sell them. Because nobody buys a Newcastle jersey to this day. Nobody cares about Newcastle. Unless they start getting good slowly but surely. But don't worry, they will get good slowly but surely. But it's going to take time because of FFP and PSR rules. It's not like back in the old days. But what I would tell you is that everything the Middle East touch, gold. PSG hadn't won a league in 20 years. Man City, forget about it. That's why. We are the Looney Tunes right now. No way Woodward played at the worst game of FIFA managers. Yeah, like my goodness me. JJ, I always blame Sir Alex Ferguson later in the years, him just getting along with the Glazers and doing nothing. I agree with you, mate. I agree with you. It would have been nice for our main man to speak out against the Glazers. You know, it would have been nice. But no, they didn't, you know, and no, he hasn't. And yeah, he's to blame. He is to blame. You have to say that. But I'm not going to come on here and talk about him like that because obviously he's the reason we were successful in the first place. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but he was the reason behind the Glazers, yeah, and because of a horse, as we know, the Rock of Gibraltar and all that. So yeah, sad. It's sad. It's a really horrible situation. The thing with England, Zaid, England would thrive better against a team that attack them. I think England struggle with a low block. I think England have got a squad that caters towards counter attack. So I think a team that attacks them, England will counter them. That's why I see them winning these games. Because of the counter-attacking style play. You guys don't remember the window when Woodward went to watch tennis. I remember everything, mate. I haven't forgotten everything. I was there, mate. You know, I was there. If Alex Ferguson stayed at Man United, we would have about 5 or 6 titles, mate. No one could compete with Alex Ferguson. We would dominate. We continue to dominate. He was old though. Oh, almost 2-1. It was a chance for Ecuador. He nearly got there. He nearly got there. He nearly got there. Still for anyway, it's 2-2 We've got 15 minutes to go. Can Ecuador get back in the game? Goalkeeper's on the floor. He's injured. Can Ecuador get back into this game? We'll have to wait and see. Big up everyone who's joined me today. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Really do. Absolute legends, of course, in the house. Yeah, let me just like honestly, Man United make more money than anyone. What was it like interviewing Said TV? Normal, mate. I've known Said for a long time. Of course, we haven't always seen eye to eye, but one thing's for certain. He works very hard, and he's, you know, I've been on his channel a couple of times, and yeah, you know, fair play to him. Fair play to him, you know, and yeah. Yeah, I don't mind him. He's all right. Said's good, man. Said's good. I had Said on my channel. It was a long time ago now. It was about 2019. 2019, I think it was 2020, around that, a long time ago. But I've had great players. I had WWE wrestlers on there. Obviously, I had Joe Hendry. I had Tony Cotti. I've had Jason McAteer, ex-Liverpool player. I've had an ex-Brazilian player called Dudu. If you remember, guys, you look through all my interviews, you'll see them. You know, and yeah, I've had a few people on the channel. I don't know. I don't really know, but yeah, he's all right. He's all right. You know, he gets a lot of abuse, so I don't tolerate abuse. Like the abuse that people give him sometimes is a little bit much. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's humane and stuff. Have I tried to get any United players on? Yeah, of course I have. I can. But yeah, I haven't tried to get anyone on for a while. I've been on MUTV, so I've interviewed players myself, myself. So back in the days, I've been doing it a long time. So I've spoken to players like Mark Bosnich, Brian McClare, if you know, you know, about it and stuff. Jordi Cruyff, if you remember him, is at Barcelona now. Spoken to him. Just hard to get them on. Sometimes they're busy. They're always doing their own thing, you know. I done an interview, Zayed, back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Spoke to Paul Scholes, Beckham, and stuff like that. I mean, but Beckham, I'll try and pull it up for you guys. I don't know if it's online now. It was a long time ago. I wish I would have sold Onana, but whoever is negotiating doesn't have a clue how to say it either. We're not going to sell him in it. We'll end up, you know. Newcastle project failed because they can't spend money because they don't make money organically. It's just in simplified fashion, you know what I mean? And can't spend money despite them willing to spend money. If City spend money today, they would also not be a success. Exactly that. But the difference between Newcastle and Man United is that we make money, a lot of money, and what the Middle East would do, they would pay off all the debt, right? So Man United wouldn't be in debt. This is what would have happened. They would have paid off all the debt, so Man United wouldn't have been in debt anymore. So all of a sudden, our FFP and PSR would go kachum, 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 you know, and we're making money, and we make more money than anyone else, so we're going to spend a lot of money. And they would have made sure that they would be investing in that football team and making them the best team again. And they won't stop until they do. You don't work, get out, we buy another one. You don't work, get out, we buy another one. It'd be like that until we're the best. And that's what it is. And we could do that because we make money, you know. Oh, must be. Yeah. I've met a few in my time. I've been to a lot of Man United games. I used to speak to Van der Sar a lot behind the goal. So I used to be front row behind the goal at Old Trafford, Stretford. Then speak to a lot of players then, you know. I've got some stories, man. I've got loads of stories I could tell. But yeah, it's just absolutely. Exactly that, Gregory. Greatness was not built on comfort zones. No excuses here for me. You either sink or you swim. That's life. I don't want to hear any excuses. Winners don't make excuses. They win. That's what it's about. You know, and I'm tired. You know, the altitude. You know, bless your cotton socks. You know, and that's what I'm not bothered by it. Guys, do you remember Robinho signing for Man City when he thought he signed for us? Yes, he has, and it's a fact as well. It's mad, isn't it? Absolutely mad. You know, Ecuadorians look defeated. Ecuador not coming back, mate. There's a hamstring injury here. Last thing they want is injuries, isn't it, Mexico? Well, we don't mind if we get through Congo. We're playing Mexico, guys. You know, so there we go. That's going to be a hell of a game. It's not the hardest game in the world, I would say. It'd be much harder to play France, you know? So, look, you know, that's what I'm talking about, you know? Yeah, he who dares wins. He or she who dares wins. No, Ecuador have done all right in the second half. They haven't been overawed, but they just can't put the ball in the net. There you go. Sweden, by the way. Sweden, right, shouldn't even been at the tournament. They came bottom of their group. They only qualified because of the Nations League. That's why they qualified. They came bottom of their group. I don't count that result. I knew France would win that. I knew 100% France were going to win that game. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't really count that. Held on by the goalkeeper. 9 minutes to go, guys. Still 2-0. Looks like Ecuador are going to be saying goodbye or adios to the World Cup this year. They just don't have anything that I look at them and think they're going to get back into the game at the moment. I just can't see it. You know what I mean? Big up everyone who's joined me. Been here for a long time now. Obviously, the game got delayed, of course, as well. So let's not forget about that. The game got delayed quite heftily. So obviously, we're on that, of course, guys. Absolutely. Yep. And I will be back, guys, for Breaking Dawn as well. So don't forget to join me for Breaking Dawn, guys. Should be a laugh, shouldn't it? You know, lots of stuff going on, in it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, lots and lots of stuff going on. There you go. Yeah, and they spent a lot of money too, mate. But they can't spend all the money because they're in debt as well. Newcastle in debt, you do know that, and their FFP is low because of FFP and PSR. This is the thing, mate. They've got debt and they don't make money. I'm working England and playing fuming. I am. I'm working when I work when England play. I'm fuming. Yeah. Listen, if Qatar took charge of Man United, this is the bottom line, guys. If Qatar or Saudi Arabia or UAE took charge of Man United would be challenging for the league and Champions League. That is the bottom line. You know, Jim Ratcliffe is a fraud. Ineos Glazers are frauds. You know what I mean? I only want Arda Güler to play Bruno in the future. Yeah, me too. He would be great signing. He's a good player. He's getting into the Real Madrid side more potently now, more consistently. You know. The reason Italy didn't qualify is because they don't have an easy group, do they? You know what I mean? They don't have to play Haiti and bloody Cape Verde and play. Italy would have done better than Ecuador and things like that. Definitely, yeah. But you have to win. You have to qualify. That's it. You know, it's simple as that. Italy have been run badly, managed badly for the last 5 years. 10 years, even longer, since they won the European Championships. But they still win things. They still won the European Championships in 2020. You know, so the thing with Italy is that right now they're not, they make the wrong appointments. They make the wrong footballing decisions in regards to managers like Gattuso, you know? Yeah, because of team selection and because of formation as well. And Gattuso's not a good manager. I don't know how Gattuso getting managed. He's got a 40% win record. And he's gone to Marseille now. He keeps getting jobs. I don't know how it is. It's a bit like Roberto Martinez. Newcastle could sell Miley instead of Hall because honestly, they don't use the kid much. Just make some good money. $1 million maybe. The problem is, like with Newcastle, right? You can't spend fully on what you earn as well at the moment, what you pay. So everything has to be balanced and stuff. It doesn't work like that. The thing is that Newcastle don't make any money on revenue. You know, this is why they try to manipulate the books. This is why certain teams lie about their finances and lie about how much money they're making. They manipulate the books, right? That's what Newcastle want to do, right? Because they don't make any money, right? And you can't just go out there and spend 100 million if you're not making any money. Even if you sell your player, that has to go into your debt and things like that. Otherwise, the FFP is too much. You'll get relegated with points deduction. And that's the thing, you know. Man United can still buy players even when we got $1 billion in debt. That's how much money we make. Now, if a billionaire came in, if a Qatari came in, or someone from the UAE or wherever it was, if they came in and they cleared that debt, there's no limits on what Man United can do. This is the whole point. Forget about what Newcastle are doing or what they're not doing. If they came into the football club, Man United will move up to a next stratosphere. They'll move up to a next level. You know what I mean? 5 minutes to go, guys. Italy don't quite because team selection, team formation. The Haiti goalkeeper looked like KG in goal. Did you know? Yeah. Italy does have good players. Yeah, and they'll be in the bloody quarterfinals. That's what's all great. If they were at this World Cup playing the likes of these teams, they would win. You know. Yeah, don't worry though. Italy, JDC, Italy have got you know, if Italy played any one of these teams, Mexico, Ecuador, in Italy, for example, they'll beat them. You know, the problem is the European qualifiers are difficult. Added to the fact, the games you have to play, the amount of games you have to play in Europe is ridiculous. You've got the Champions League, the Europa League, the Conference League. So English teams, European teams in general struggle because of the amount of games that we have to play. Right? We've got to play so many games and we have to play games at a competitive level as well. This is probably the tournament of the goalkeeper. I think I've seen some very, very talented goalkeepers here in this tournament so far. You know, and yeah, Good to scout, of course. Good to scout some of these goalkeepers. We should be scouting some of these goalkeepers anyway. Definitely. Oh, guys. Long ball away for corner. Doesn't look like Ecuador. Oh, Ecuador are toothless, mate. They wouldn't score in 5 years, mate. They could keep playing for 5 years straight. They wouldn't score. Honestly. Long ball. Ecuador played well, to be fair, but obviously Mexico looking at it thinking we won the game. We're just going to take it easy. We're just going to like not risk any injuries and things like that. Do you know what I mean? The Paraguay goalkeeper seems like a Pickford replacement at Everton. I would start dropping Pickford. You know that for England. I'm going to be honest, guys. I'll start picking Henderson, the goalkeeper. Europe is difficult, mate. Europe is difficult. Very difficult. You know, with every one good team there is in South America and North America, there's about 10 of good teams in Europe. Here come Mexico. Oh, that's a penalty. No, good tackle. Ecuador has no quality forward player. Nah, they got good midfield. That's about it. Sacking Machini and placing him with Gattuso was stupid. Gattuso was a good DM. Doesn't mean he's a good coach. He's got 40% win record. 40% win record. You know what I mean? He's rubbish. He's rubbish. He shouldn't be managing Italy. And you know the manager, right? Obviously he's in charge of in-game management and stuff like that. You know? And he made the wrong decisions. As simple as that. Dominated the game against Bosnia. Couldn't score. Got into position to win. Still couldn't win. Mancini, should have placed him. Pickford does have T-Rex hands. He's a T-Rex. If Pickford had normal size arms, Pickford would be the best goalkeeper in the world. If he had normal size arms. But unfortunately, he has T-Rex arms. So he's not the best goalkeeper in the world. Sometimes they may be good, sometimes they may be shit. In Ineos position, sometimes maybe shit, sometimes even worse shit. That's basically what it is. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? They need to make some like Conte Italy manager. Yeah. Or they need to develop some new ones, because what I'm seeing is a rotation of Allegri, Conte, Mancini, all them going around in a circle. They need to make some new managers. Obviously, Spalletti weren't bad. Lippi, Spalletti, Lippi's old. For goodness me. 7 minutes of injury time, guys, before Mexico go through. They're just delaying the inevitable here. Mexico have been relatively comfortable. I haven't seen Mexico concede a goal, to be honest with you, but congratulations. They got to the last 16 and they may be playing England in the next round. Good morning, Sal. Good morning, my brother. Hope you're doing well. Big up yourself. Hope you're well, bro. Hope everything is good with you. You know, yeah, it's going to be a good game, England against Mexico. I'm looking forward to that. It's exciting. I get excited by these games. Chance. Oh, just over the bar for Mexico. Almost 3-0. Great try. Great try. They would be good. They would be good Italian managers. I mean, imagine Maresca and De Zerbi, one of those as Italian managers. I don't know why they haven't done that yet, to be honest with you. How they haven't gone down that one. Do you know what I mean? We're talking about the equation here of if you small it down. Do you know what I mean? If you small it down, he's got T-Rex arms. For the size of a T-Rex has small arms, Gregory. For the size of a T-Rex, it has two small arms, right? If a T-Rex wanted to scratch its ding-dong, it won't be able to scratch its ding-dong because its arms are too small. You know what I mean? So that's why. So basically, if you shrink a T-Rex down to the size of Jordan Pickford, his arms will still be too small. You know what I mean? Absolutely. No, not Conte. Conte is the biggest winner. I think Maresca and De Zerbi would be good managers for Italy. Yeah, I don't know why Italy don't get into like. Why don't they find someone like someone different? You know, what I mean, there are managers out there. I mean, Gianfranco Zola's getting into management. Paolo Di Canio is getting into management. Yeah, but imagine Italy is better. Too little, too late for Ecuador. Nothing going on with Ecuador at the moment. I can't see them scoring. I could be here for months. I don't think they're going to score, to be honest with you. There's going to be a red card. Someone held their mouth. Someone's holding their mouth. So there could be a red card here. Yeah, you don't hold your mouth, bruv. That's it. He's off. He's going to be off. He's going to be off. Goodbye. It doesn't matter. Too late. It's late anyway. It's late anyway. Yeah, you can't cover your mouth. Sorry, mate. You're going to be off. You're going to be sent off. You can't cover your mouth in this game. No chance, mate. You can't cover your mouth. It's going to be a red. Just give him the red card, man. Probably something that he didn't compliment him, that's for sure. You can't. I mean, he didn't compliment him. We know, Greg. It's happened before. We know. Player got sent off earlier in the tournament. Remember Paraguay? You remember Amarissa? What's his name? Red card. Red card. Goodbye. I don't think he cares, but still in it. Adds salt to the wound. Hincape. He's not the Arsenal Hincape, though, is he? It's not the same one. He had to be a red, man. It had to be a red. It had to be a red. Can't get away from that, man. I agree with that. That rule, that's the rule I agree with. Because when they do that, right? When they do that, like, they're not going to say something nice. They're going to say something horrible. So I would say, yeah. And you can say anything, you shouldn't be allowed to get away with that. When you cover it up, your mouth, you're not going to say something nice. Isn't Cappy on loan, though, isn't he? He's still a Leverkusen player, I heard. Someone told me he's still a Leverkusen player, but he's on loan at Arsenal. Yeah, the former Newcastle player. Yeah, the most experienced. He's still on loan at Leverkusen. The most experienced thing. Yeah, I'm not surprised it's an Arsenal player. He also put a forehead in, not a headbutt, but still aggressive. Yeah. Have they activated it? Have they? Oh, okay. Well, they might not activate it now. They might turn away from it because depending on what he said. Why is he doing that? Why is he doing that? You guys buy clowns. What's he doing that? You know what he said? Do you know what he said, Hassan? Do you know what he said? I got an exclusive here, guys. I heard what he said. I'm hearing what he said. He said, you wouldn't be winning this game if we had more corners. There you go. You're lucky you're not playing at the Emirates. We would have beaten you. Would have crowded your goalkeeper and we would have beaten you with corners. You wait till you come to the Emirates when we're going to get a corner on you. We're going to have a corner. You wait. Watch what's going to happen. Don't come to the Emirates and give away a corner, mate. Yeah, don't put a flag. Don't. Yeah, don't put a flag on a street corner because they'll take a corner from a corner. Absolutely. Guys, we're more or less finished in this game. Just delaying the inevitable. And delaying the inevitable. Um, Come on, guys, throw the bloody whistle. Delaying the inevitable, man. Mexico go through full time, finally, guys. Full time. Mexico go through to the World Cup last 16, where they will play England or DR Congo in the next round, guys. Well played to Mexico. Congratulations to Mexico. The Azteca Stadium goes wild. They are in the last 16. They will be delighted by that. Absolutely. Congratulations to Mexico. Commiserations for Ecuador. Ecuador. They got the rest of the summer to party. So anyway, guys, great for Mexico. Good for Mexican football. Congratulations to them. And they're going to be difficult to beat. They're going to be a difficult side for England or Congo, of course. So you're going to have to be. We're going to have to be on top of our game if we're going to beat them. Absolutely. And if England beat them there, you never know. Ukapi made an arse of himself. Well, he plays for Arsenal, isn't it? You know, definitely. Arteta, Arsenal, Wenger, the all same thing, isn't it? Or directs the same direction. Congratulations to Mexico on their progression to the last 16. Well played, well deserved. Better team. Handled the game well. Played the game the right way. Played attacking, fluid football. And they've done incredibly well this game. Really appreciate that performance. Guys, thank you everyone who's joined me today. I will be back in literally an hour and 2 hours, guys. You know, will England beat Brazil if they defeat Mexico? Yes, they will, because they're a better team. You know what I mean? Yes. Yes, guys. Have a good one. Have a great one. Enjoy it, guys. Have tacos for breakfast, as Jurgen Klopp said. Absolutely. And enjoy yourself. And I'll see you for Breaking Dawn, guys. Join me for that, for another passionate Breaking Dawn show, which is sure to be another one. It's sure to be another one, guys. We have got a lot of anger stacked up. Let's get into it. See you soon, guys. Take it easy. Peace.